Welcome everybody to live coverage of this year's finals day for the 2025 ROK Cup Superfinal. Fantastic to have you with us. My name is Andrew Mather. Alongside me in the commentary box overlooking start line here at South Garda Karting, Lenato, is Daniele Laspina. Daniele, Year 6 for our little combo here in the box. We've had a fantastic competition so far over 3 preceding days of qualifying and heats. And the weather's good for us as well. For anyone who was here last year, I think they're very happy to see clear skies. It's a little bit chillier here this morning than it has been the last few days, but good conditions for some great racing here today.
6 years in a row, and we can't get enough. And as far as it concerned, this ROK Cup Superfinal this year, there were 3 days of battling on track. We were enjoying that, and today is the day when we will make champions out of these these 2 moments, the pre-finals and the finals this afternoon, of course. Vi do il benvenuto anche in italiano qui al South Garda Karting per la ROK Cup Superfinal 2025 e ci divertiremo, come diceva Andrew. 6 anni che vi accompagniamo insieme in questa avventura e non ci stanchiamo, e poi insomma oggi c'è, rispetto agli ultimi anni, all'ultimo anno soprattutto, come sottolineava, un gran bel tempo ad accoglierci qui a Lenato, e ci sono tutti gli ingredienti per divertirci, per vedere delle gran belle battaglie in pista, come è stato in questi 3 giorni che ci hanno accompagnato fino alle prefinali di questa stamattina, di stamattina, e le finali di questo pomeriggio, che assegneranno i titoli di questa ROK Cup Superfinal per questo 2025.
So as Daniele was just explaining there in Italian for those in English, we start the day with the pre-finals. So how these work, we've had 4 rounds of heats at least for each of the drivers. Juniors have had a bit more as well. We'll explain that in due course. But everybody who has qualified through to today will race once in a pre-final. The intermediate points, the penalty points from the previous day's racing, they carry over into these pre-finals. So it's an extension of the heats process and part of the competition. Essentially, doesn't matter what class you are in, you want to be in the top 36 in those intermediate standings when we get to the end of these pre-finals. For a number of the classes, Super ROK is an example that we'll start with. Everybody's guaranteed a spot through to the final, the super final later on this afternoon. But for those higher subscribed classes, the minis, the mini under 10s, the juniors, the seniors, there will be a cut-off, of course, for that top 36 to have those drivers go through. So in junior, Daniele, we've already seen some drivers depart. There was more than 72 drivers in the entry at the start of the race week. So about 10 of those, I think we had about 82, 83, so 10 of those have sadly gone. They weren't able to qualify through to these pre-finals. We're going to halve that number again this afternoon. So it's a really important phase of the competition, isn't it?
It is, it really is. It's this morning it could be capital for a lot of drivers. They are just around the cutoff, and of course for all other drivers to set their tone for the final, to set the starting grid for the final. And it could be also something very, very important to test one more time the track, one final time before the race that it's meant to be. Sarà una giornata importante, appunto il funzionamento lo abbiamo spiegato in inglese, replichiamo in italiano. Sarà quello sostanzialmente di un'estensione delle manche di qualificazione, delle batterie che abbiamo avuto nel corso delle scorse giornate per tutte le classi. con ovviamente per quanto riguarda le classiche tipo la Super ROK con cui cominceremo a breve il programma mattutino, tutti hanno un posto garantito in finale, ma il punteggio che ci si porta avanti da questi 2 giorni di manche e di qualifiche sarà aggiornato con la prefinale e ci darà la griglia di partenza. Per le altre classi, la mini under 10, la senior e la junior, dove ci sono più iscritti rispetto a quanti la griglia ne possa contenere, allora lì sì ci sarà un taglio dei piloti che alla fine della prefinale, con la somma dei punti della prefinale, anzi delle prefinali per essere più precisi ancora, che ci darà quali piloti andranno in griglia per la finale e quali invece saranno sostanzialmente eliminati e non potranno accedere. Abbiamo avuto già qualche eliminazione nella junior con tanti partecipanti, di qualcuno che appunto non ha trovato posto in nessuna delle 2 prefinali. Ci sarà ulteriormente un dimezzamento dei partecipanti in vista delle finali di oggi pomeriggio. Con le immagini per chi ci sta seguendo da casa invece ci godiamo la carrellata in pregriglia, la prima delle tante che vivremo quest'oggi, con la concentrazione che inizia a essere cercata dai piloti per questa prefinale, come detto, fondamentale anche per le categorie come la Super ROK dove il taglio non ci sarà.
Big prizes on offer today as well for the winner of every category. They get a prize engine from Vortex ROK for free in all categories apart from shifter. I think I'm right in saying everyone gets a ticket through to the ROK Cup Asia final later on in the year, and then 2nd through 5th all get cash voucher prizes for their efforts across the course of this week. That's more for later. They're down in the pre-grid area. You can see the Super ROK drivers. So we start with something quite special here on this final day of competition at Lonato. All drivers guaranteed a spot in the final for this one, 34 of them. So yes, they will all go through. There's no cut-off for this category, but that doesn't mean that the drivers have been taking it lightly so far in the competition. As we say, we've had 4 rounds of heats over the last 2.5 days. We had timed qualifying back on Wednesday as well. But really the story so far in this category, Daniele, has been who can beat Nico Marchesi. Nicola Marchesi is unbeaten so far in the competition. He's, of course, the this year's ROK Cup Italia champion. So he is one of the favourites heading into this international super final. But yeah, so far unbeaten. But Riccardo Ferrari's been right on his tail so far this week, hasn't he?
Yeah, this is the day where Riccardo Ferrari and pretty much everybody else has to move to stop Marchesi doing what he does best. That's winning, as far as we can see. Saw these few days, and this is gonna be interesting because Super ROK is always one of those class where the races are always with a surprise in it, especially during the final races, during the races that it matters the most. So we can expect a lot from the Super ROK. It was pretty entertaining these days, so we can see that something could happen.
So the drivers are rolling out from the pre-grid. Let's take you through the grid for this one. So this grid determined by the intermediate standings after 4 rounds of heats. Remember, those points from the heats carry over into today's pre-finals. Nicola Marchesi will start on pole position, unbeaten so far this week, and has Riccardo Ferrari alongside on the front row. Ferrari has been in second to Marchesi in every single one of the heats so far. Alex Desario and Blake Nash, they go from row 2. Mattia D'Abramo and Alex Legezza go from row 3. Both of those drivers have consistently been in at least the top 10 in every single race appearance so far this week. Matteo Berruti and Pietro Mondin start on row 4. Bartosz Ziavash starts on row 5, had a technical problem in heat number 2, had to work his way back up through the order. That's why he's a little bit further back in this pre-final, but we've seen when it's been going well for the Polish driver, he is still one of the favourites. He's had very good race pace. He's joined on the 5th row of the grid by Guido Badoli. Badoli stepping across from junior last year, was 4th in the super final in junior last year, straight into super, and he's in the top 10 ahead of this pre-final. Gianna Pascal and Pietro Carmelengo, they're on row 6. It's then Saab Kale and Simone Donkey going from row 7. Scott Riley from the Republic of Ireland for the Magic Racing team starts on row 8 alongside Federico Zanetti. Emmanuel Leodikis and Vittorio Maria Russo, they go from row 9. It's then Jan Stenchel and Gaia Cardinali completing the top 20 on row 10. Matteo Favero and Nicola Giuseppe Reno go from row 11. Nicola Marini and Lucas Zajewski start on row 6. Marcel Rudnicki and Seth Frost go from 13. Manuel Gritti and Tolga Guriel on row 14. Amador Martinez and Samuel Sotile go from row 15. Matteo Lazzarotto and Tomato Curioni on row 16. Jack Amon and Niatsi Otinar on the final row. We're not ready for a race start. Our race officials not satisfied with the parity across the front row on that occasion, Daniele, so we will go round for another formation lap.
Altro giro di formazione per questa Super ROK, per questa prefinale della Super ROK. Evidentemente l'abbiamo visto bene dalle immagini, anche sulla griglia, che non c'erano i crismi rispettati per comporre come si deve i due serpentoni che si sono lanciati sulla linea del traguardo e sulla rettilineo, e quindi da ripetere la procedura di partenza, qualcosa a cui ovviamente si deve stare molto attenti, e abbiamo una grande direzione gara che lo farà costantemente, anche perché poi il rischio di pagare caro qualche errore, qualche sbavatura, qualche accelerata troppo anticipata, che può rischiare di far arrivare una penalità.
So Marchesi actually doesn't need to win this race to have pole for the final. Has an 8-point advantage in the intermediate standings heading into this one. Looks like we're pretty good for a race start. Not quite though to the satisfaction of the race officials. I think pole side just went a little bit too quickly there for the liking of our race direction team in the hands of Marco Carlino and Pasquale Lupoli here this weekend, Daniele. Does give us a bit more time to give you a bit more of a flavour of how these points are looking going into this race. So as mentioned, Marchesi perfect score, 0 penalty points at the moment. Ferrari second on 8. Desario third on 18. Pretty close actually between Desario and Nash. 3 points the difference, 18 to 21. De Bramo not too far behind as well on 22. Legetza 28. Baruti 34. Mondin 44. And just to confirm as well, the point system for these pre-finals is the same as the heats. It's 0 points if you win the race, 2 penalty points for second, 3 for third, etc., etc., as you go down through the field. It will be 10 laps as well, same as the heats in the preceding days of this 2025 ROK Cup Superfinal. If you're just joining us, great to have you with us. Andrew Mather and Daniele Laspina in the commentary box for you today. They've got to get this one right. This is their third attempt at the start. We are good, we are green and racing then in Super ROK. Great start for those on the pole side of the grid. It will be Marchesi leading through the first couple of corners. Desario's up to second place. Ferrari's going to have a fight here to try and fight back. There's an incident off of turn 2 and turn 3. Quite a sizable incident. Wheels even off one of the carts. Majorly changing acts, and Blake Nash is involved in this. Blake Nash has not come through sector 1. Mondin, Carmelengo, Zanetti, Leodikis, Stenchel, Marini and Jezierski have all been involved there, Daniele, off the start. Blake Nash has got going again, but is some 10 seconds off the back of the field. That was quite a sizable incident off of turn 2.
Yeah, that's not how you want to start your pre-final. That's not how you want to start your Saturday. We're going to be on slow procedure, the full course yellow for this race. It's not the start you want to, especially if you're one of the drivers involved, but for everybody else, because it kind of set the tone. We had a few huge crash yesterday, especially in that part of the track, of course. With the start of the race, all of the drivers are there. One little mistake can lead to a huge one like this, a big one like the said overseas, but it's something that can happen, and it's something, especially at this point of the super final, especially in the pre-final, Andrew, that can kind of be a sentence for someone.
So the drivers that are out, to be clear, will make it through to the final. There is no cut-off for this one because it's 34 drivers on the grid. So we'll be able to get them all on for the match of 36. There's been another kart breakdown. I think there's been a problem for Amon. Jack Amon, I can just see out of the
probably is one of the drivers involved that were able to restart, but at some point maybe you have some damage on your kart.
Well, it's just out of the first hairpin that Amon has come to a stop and is out of this race. So they will all go through. So the drivers not running: Amon, Mondin, Camerlengo, Zanetti, Leodakis, Stenzel, Marini and Jezierski, but they will pretty much start from the back of the grid, or in a much lower grid position than they did for the start of this pre-final, with the points being tallied up. You're absolutely right, Daniele. We are looking for the positives. At least this time we didn't have a track blockage. We did see that happen yesterday during one of the heats that brought a red flag out on lap 1. But at least the officials have been able to keep this one going under slow procedure, under neutralised conditions. This is great news, though. I think if you're Nicola Marchesi, no pressure, ticking the laps off, knowing that he's getting ever closer to that pole position for the final.
Yeah, that's it, and it's good to see that everybody involved is okay. Now we see one of the race director waiting for the drivers on the start-finish line, so probably he wants to talk to the drivers, to say something to the drivers, to set some rules. There are not these rules, but something that he needs to say to some of the drivers.
Now there's been a bit of confusion here. I think 2 drivers have come to a stop.
Yeah.
I don't think that was part of the plan. I think what the race officials were trying to understand there, and one of them's Marchesi. Marchesi's come to a stop here and is now trying to get push started. The 617 of Desario also came to a stop. Marchesi, I don't think, could get going again here. This is quite a bizarre turn of events. I think the officials were trying to say to the drivers to slow it down a bit under the yellow, reduce the amount of weaving. Marchesi, I think, may have thought the race was coming to a stop. There was no red flags out. It was still just the slow boards and the yellows. And this is going to be a big change now, Daniele, because Marchesi had this race under his control and is now going to be slipping down the order. Riccardo Ferrari will take the lead in the final penalty phase standings and take the lead of this race. Now we've gone red flag. Okay, so now this might save Marchesi.
Yeah.
Because we'll count back, I assume, one lap to the pre. But this is quite a bizarre turn of events here. Now the field is coming to a stop.
Yeah, it's of course everything we can understand from the box and from where we are. It's just theoretical. It's just something that we cannot say it is official. But probably the race direction want to say something to Marchese and to Desario, was the other guy that was stopped on the start finish line, to talk to them. Probably they saw something that didn't work on the start procedure, even when they got the green lights. So say they need to do something to assure that everything is safety. And probably, as far as the race direction point of view, they saw something on the start that could be the not the cause, but something that could be avoided, to avoid also the crash.
So we're under red flag conditions then for the second time this weekend in the Super ROK category. We'll wait for further instruction. You can see the driver of the 618 there. That's Russo trying to do some rudimentary repairs, shall we say, to the side pod of that PRK ASD machine. Trust me, that is a 618, but you can see that there's a huge amount of rubber on the side.
Russo was one of the drivers involved in the crash. I won't say slightly, but I guess if I saw it right, it was hit on the side part of his car from one of the other cars that was out of the race. So probably that's something that had damaged his car.
Whilst we're waiting for the next instructions from the race officials, we'll just go down and through the race order because I'm sure we've got many people tuning in, cheering on specific drivers in specific categories, and probably wondering when are they going to be out, when are they going to be racing. So once Super ROK have completed their running in this pre-final, once they get going again, of course, we switch to Junior ROK, 2 Superfinals for the juniors. Those are going to be the ones that I think will be really, really exciting, because we've got 72 drivers who have made it through to these pre-finals, but that number will halve again for the final. I always like this kind of system of these pre-finals, because there's plenty of stories up and down the grid. You have the drivers at the front, obviously they want to keep going and maintain their momentum. You've got the drivers kind of just in front of the middle of the pack. They're trying to defend their position. They're just trying to make the grid for the big race later on this afternoon. You've got the drivers immediately behind them who know, I just need 2 or 3 positions to swing the balance and get through. And then you've got the drivers towards the back. Some of them probably quite happy to have made it through to the top 72 cut-off after problems early on in the week. But they know that one big heroic drive, you never know, could make them go all the way through to the top 36. So as I say, 2 races of juniors will follow this. 2 races then for the Mini ROK under 10s, our youngest drivers here this week. Made me feel very old when I was reading the sporting regulations last week to get myself up to speed for this event, Daniele. That's for drivers born in 2015 or later. That's all I'm going to say on that one, as it makes us feel very old.
Yeah, don't make me think about it.
Mini ROK will then follow it. That's the class with some older drivers in it. Really looking forward to Mini ROK again. Often a category that if you want an indicator of who's going to be a potential big name in, say, 3 or 4 years, 5 years' time in world karting, have a look at who's winning Mini ROK here at the ROK Cup Superfinal. Many drivers who have won that title or been on the podium in that race have gone on to some really great achievements. You know, in the last 10 years, probably the biggest of all being Kimi Antonelli, now racing in Formula 1, of course, your winner of that back in 2018. Expert ROK, so we go from the youngest drivers through the minis to the... Well, they are the oldest. I like to say they're the most experienced drivers. Expert ROK, the category for those aged 32 or older, will be after that. Expert Plus, the one for aged 45 or over, will follow that. Then we get into the really, really big ones. The seniors will have 2 pre-finals to determine who makes the top 36 cut-off for the final. And then Shifter ROK will finish off our morning session with their single grid to determine who will start on pole for the finals. The finals order is then slightly different, which you'll be able to see on the second broadcast here today. If you've not subscribed already to the ROK by Vortex YouTube channel, do so now. Click that notification bell. You won't miss a single video going up. There's been some great content being put together this week by the team led by Yannick and by Luca. They've been doing some top work to give more insights this year into the competition, so do go and check those out during the lunch break. We'll then go from 120 for the build-up, 125 for race start for Mini ROK under 10 first, then Mini ROK, then Junior ROK, Super ROK, Expert Plus, Expert ROK, Senior ROK, Shifter ROK to finish. If you want all the key details, head across to the ROK Cup Superfinal website. All of the timings on the schedule are on there, Daniele.
Yes, it is. And allow me to say pretty much
the
the same in Italian.
Yeah, go for it.
Because it's important. Davvero sfruttiamo la pausa, diciamo così, mentre la direzione gara si è presa il tempo per riorganizzare un po' tutto quello che è successo e anche per parlare forse con i piloti. Abbiamo visto il capannello di piloti che si è avvicinato appunto all'inizio della griglia, però sfruttiamo la pausa, sfruttate la pausa per iscrivervi al canale se ci state seguendo e anche no, perché poi non vi potete così rimanere sintonizzati e potete non perdervi niente di quello che viene pubblicato, anche perché al di là della gara, dello streaming, della diretta ci sono tantissimi contenuti seguendo su YouTube e sui vari social potete seguire tutto quello che viene pubblicato. Davvero ottimi contenuti che sono stati pubblicati nel corso della settimana da tutto il team, un grande sforzo collettivo. Oltretutto poi la giornata proseguirà dopo le gare, ci sarà la premiazione, poi ci sarà anche il live talk da seguire con i piloti che saranno ospiti, potranno dire la loro su quella che è stata questa ROK Cup Superfinal 2025.
So, on our screens in the commentary box, I can see that the current state of the race session has gone back to the order of the end of lap number 2. So Marchesi back to first position, then Desario, then Ferrari, then Laghezza, De Bramo, Gervais, Baruti, Kaol, Pascal and Riley. That's your top 10. If you're just joining us, we're under red flag conditions early on in this race, waiting for further instructions to us here in the box. Obviously, for the officials, the priority is the drivers, the safety of the drivers, and making sure that they are all up to speed. And we'll bring you that news to you at home as and when we receive it. But I think that will be a bit of a relief for Nicola Marchesi after that. I say, from what we saw, confusion. I think confusion is the word we'll use. That there was no flagged instruction to stop, but Marchesi did come to a stop, as did Desario. They then couldn't get going again, and I think it's the right decision that the red flag was thrown for fairness more than anything to reset things and get us going again after lap 2.
Probably there was a misunderstanding on that, and then the red flag was needed.
Mechanics are on the scene because, of course, in Super ROK they need to do a push start for this category. I do like this category. This is proper stuff in Super ROK with a direct drive. I say drivers from the age of 14 and upwards. It's one of those categories that you can race in in the year of your 14th birthday. The lightest of the senior categories as well, 155 kilogram minimum weight. They really, really do move very, very quickly. They're great to watch from trackside as well. So with mechanics on the scene, Daniele, I would suspect that there's maybe a little bit of time just to check over the karts, reset anything that needs to be reset under the watchful eye of the technical team here. But we shouldn't be too far away from getting going again.
Yeah, probably everything, even technically with the timing and all sort of things, it has been pretty much sorted out. So we're pretty much ready to restart this race. And of course, probably we have like we saw from some of them, some of the carts are a bit damaged, maybe not 100%, but there's a race to finish, I'd say, and probably we will have the order, the restarting order that you said before. Like we completed 2 laps only. Let's wait on that to be sure about it. The only sure thing at this point, and it's the sad thing that the drivers that are out of the race won't be part of the race anymore.
Yeah, because we've completed 2 laps, unfortunately, for Amon, Mondin, Carolengo, Zanetti, Lidakis, Stenchel, Marini, and Jezierski. I don't think we're going to be seeing them back in the restart of this race. We'll see them, fingers crossed, in the final later on, all being well, for getting the karts back into one piece, and hopefully, I say, it was quite a sizable incident down there, out of turn 2, through 3, and towards turn 4. It's quite, I won't say strange, but it's not the normal place we see action of that kind. Normally, it's when we get to that tighter right-hander at turn 4, and later, definitely then when we get down to past the mechanics gallery and into turn 5.
Usually, it's sooner or later at turn 1 or then after it. Probably it was. We didn't have the image clear on what happened, but probably it was something that happened outside exiting turn 1 and 2. Maybe one of the carts got on the throttle a little too much, or maybe there was a contact between 2 cars. And of course, when you are in that position at the very start of the race, every kart is near another. It's just a little spark that can make a huge one like this we saw. Sicuramente è stata, non abbiamo visto al meglio dalla nostra postazione e con le immagini che cosa abbia innescato l'incidente, appunto abbiamo fatto qualche speculazione, diciamo così, ma non l'abbiamo visto, magari qualche appunto comportamento che la direzione gara ha usato questa pausa per andare anche un po' a redarguire. È strano il punto, perché di solito abbiamo visto nel corso anche di questa settimana è un po' più facile che ci siano degli incidenti alla primissima curva, prima curva 1 o 2, oppure un po' dopo rispetto a dove l'abbiamo visti, ma magari qua è successo che in uscita da curva 2 qualcuno abbia perso il controllo in accelerazione, oppure ci sia stato un contatto fra due piloti e di conseguenza, poi essendo lì nella partenza, subito dopo la partenza tutti molto vicini, è stato purtroppo un attimo nel coinvolgere tanti altri piloti.
So I think the race officials are just going through the motions, making sure everybody is in the correct order. Let's talk some positives. There are some drivers who've gained quite a few positions. They managed to get themselves through what happened there on lap 1. We saw one of them a few moments ago that caught my eye. Seth Frost, one of the drivers from New Zealand, racing for the KGT Motorsport team, showing us up 12 positions at the start of this race, and great once again for the. I pick Seth for this example. The great array of nations. I think we've got nearly 40 nations represented this season, and a good number as well from places very far away. Good number from Australia, good number from New Zealand. But we've got drivers from all around the world here today, haven't we?
Yeah, from all around the world, from all the continents. It's one of the pride of the ROK Cup Superfinal at this point, because it's not the first time. Every year is like this, and that's a very good note every time, because it's one of the rare occasions when you have the chance to confront yourself, to measure yourself against some of the drivers that you not usually met on the meeting, on the races, on your country, or in Europe if you drive in Europe, in Oceania, or in Asia or America if you drive there. So this is a good opportunity to set something, to do something new against new drivers that you don't know.
Indeed, and some of the newer initiatives as well that have come into the ROK Cup Superfinal. It was one of the parts, one of the features put together by our great social media and video media team earlier on this week, about the arrive and drive concept. Because obviously for those travelling from the other side of the world, it's one thing to get yourself over from that part of the world, but getting equipment over, everything, chassis, engines, all of that stuff is very hard. The arrive and drive format has allowed more drivers from the other hemisphere. We've got a number of drivers from Japan, for example, who previously haven't been able to come, but now can, because you've got the arrive and drive format with all the kit here ready to go.
I bet that someone wants the arrive and drive system even for work or for traveling. It could be useful for everybody.
So the drivers are back underway. Yellow flags out. And we'll confirm through in a moment the reset order. It's going to be Marchesi from Desario, Ferrari, Laghezza, De Bramo and Gervas. So that's the same as at the end of... Now, Daniele, what have we spotted? Something going on down at turn 1?
Yeah, it's Sarp Kyle. We saw his mechanics doing the best effort he can to push the start, but it's not yet was not yet able to start. Let's hope he can rejoin the field, but it seems like that's it. And of course they are not happy about it, but that's it for Sarp Kyle. End of his pre-final.
Yeah, so we're down to 25 then. The driver from Turkey will not go any further.
Yeah.
The lap counter has ticked through to 3 laps completed. We remain under yellow conditions. Marchesi from Desario, Ferrari, Laghezza, De Bramo, Gervas, Baruti, Pascal, Riley and Bidoli. And now it really is a shame for KL, because KL was in a nice position ahead of this restart. Again, we'll be in the final, but we'll have some repairs to do to get that kart performing as it should be. At the moment as well, this result would of course confirm Marchesi as pole sitter for the final. 11 points now the advantage over Riccardo Ferrari. Ferrari would still start on the outside of row number 1. Desario, De Bramo, Lagetza, Baruti, Mondin and Nash at the moment in the top 8. Really, Blake Nash is the big loser at the moment, dropping down from the second row of the grid.
And from the next lap we will racing again.
Yep.
So we will have a five laps pre-final. It's kind of changed the strategic and the effort economy of this race.
So the drivers heading through the triple set of hairpins. All being well, the green flag will fly. It is in the air ahead of us here in the comms box, and away we go then for the remaining laps. This effectively becomes a 5-lap Super ROK pre-final. Marchesi back up to speed, relieved to still be in that position at the front of the field. Desario in second, Ferrari third. Ferrari, I don't think necessarily will attack this too much. It's not much to gain at the moment from getting past Desario in terms of the wider picture of this. Oh, Marchesi spun! Marchesi spins out of turn 6 and causes a bit of a chain reaction. Now, what happened there? He was all on his own. That he was either a kart failure or it couldn't have been a driver error from Nicolas Marchesi. But again, well, there's no going to be coming back from that one. Marchesi, for the second time in this race session, Daniele, could be losing pole position for the final here. Jevash has come to the lead. Jevash has come through, so the tables have turned. Jevash had his problems earlier on in the race week, now has a chance of winning this pre-final.
Especially because he spun, but like you said, it was a chain reaction, and Ferrari was alongside with him. He's still on track, but he's now in P13, and the spun from Marchesi involved also Desario with Nicky. So that's end of the race for Nicky, and that's a huge problem for Desario, that they needed the points way more than Marchesi to be there on the final.
And this is exactly what we've been talking about, isn't it, Daniele, with Super ROK? We've seen this in previous years, that the trends can be leading you to think, oh, well, this is a done deal. This is going to be Nicolas Marchesi's, parade day to victory. No. This is Super ROK. It can always be unpredictable and change at a moment's notice. We're on lap number 8. 3 to go, including this one. Jevash has the race lead. Jevash is coming back into the top 8 now. The whole of the intermediate order is going to be completely changed by this. Ferrari, as we mentioned, even though he's running down in 11th place now, is on for pole position here. He's got a 5-point advantage over Marchesi, who is out of this race. Desario has now fallen down to 6th place in the order. Wow. This is not what I think many people were expecting at the start of the day. That is another lap completed, 2 more to go. Jevash leads from Lagetza by just over half a second, Daniele.
What a chance for a lot of drivers that are gaining more and more position. Look at Gaia Cardinali back on top 10. She had a few problems during the heats in the previous day. È un'occasione per alcuni piloti adesso con il testacoda di Marchesi che è fuori dalla corsa. Di fatto ha trascinato con sé Desario, che adesso è ultimo, e Ferrari che adesso sta provando a risalire la china al di fuori della top 10, oltre che a Rayleigh e Rudnicki che si sono ritirati a loro volta. Ma come dicevi tu, questa è la Super, succede sempre qualcosa, è quasi una garanzia, e adesso per Marchesi cambia quello che poteva essere una finale sostanzialmente più tranquilla. Dovrà a suo malgrado rimboccarsi le maniche. Non sappiamo chiaramente se questa cosa sia stato un errore del pilota oppure qualcosa dovuto al kart. Sicuramente la concentrazione dopo quella pausa è stata difficile da ritrovare per tutti. It's not a super if Super ROK if nothing like this happens.
Indeed, we're on the last lap of this one. Bartosz Jevash, look at this. I mean, he's gone from 30th in the second round of heats because of that mechanical failure to now lead in this pre-final. Now, yes, he's not going to start on pole position for the final later on today, but it proves that here today, Bartosz Dziewasz could still be your ROK Cup Superfinal champion later on this evening. Dziewasz wins the pre-final in dramatic fashion from Alex Legeza, Mattia D'Abramo third, Berruti fourth, Bidoli fifth, Cardinali up 14 positions, a brilliant drive from Gaia Cardinali to 6th, Pascal 7th, Donkey 8th, Gritti 9th, Riccardo Ferrari. I think if you'd offered him at the start of this race 10th place, he would be absolutely furious with 10th place. But in quite bizarre fashion, that result gives him pole position for the final due to the fall of Nico Marchesi. Curione in 11th place. Curione was your biggest mover of the race, up 21 positions in that one. Really good stuff from the Italian in the 610. Martinez up 17 to 12th. Reno, Russo, Oschina, Frost, Lazzarotto, Guriel, Sotile and Nash were in the top 20. Desario did get going again, but got home in 21st place. Favero 22nd, and then listen to this for a list of retirements. Riley, Marchesi, Rudnicki, Keol, Amon, and then all of these on the very first lap of the race. Mondin, Camerlengo, Zanetti, Leodakis, Stenchel, Marini and Zajewski. But really the big name in that one has got to be Nico Marchesi, unbeaten before the start of this race. He still has a very good chance of winning the final. Let's be absolutely clear, Daniele. But goes from 0 points to 24 points. Will start the final second. We often say this in international karting, but here especially, second place can sometimes be a bit of a tricky grid slot to start from here at Lonato.
Yeah, really needs to put an effort on that to try to recover from this pre-final, and not only because we saw in this one, we saw him during the whole week. Not only Ferrari starting from the pole, but Vizjak is going to be a tough customer to deal with during the race this afternoon. I want to point also on the Zario situation. It was really there. It was a good ride all week long. It was involved in that Marchesi crash out, and he classified in P21. It's gonna ruin a little bit this final. And look, I was looking at him because at some point you have a situation where he crossed the finish line, it just stopped. Probably he was worried about the kart.
Indeed. Just a quick rundown as we have a look at the scenes down in Parc Ferme. Ferrari and Marchesi will be your front row. These are provisional results, of course, ladies and gentlemen. They will be your front row for the final later on today. D'Abramo and Legeza on row 2, Berruti and Desario row 3, Nash and Dziewasz on row 4. I think any of those drivers, based on what we've just seen there in that pre-final, Daniele, any of those drivers and probably more, that's just the top 8 that's on our screen confirmed. Anyone could win this race. Anyone could win this race later on today. So the Super ROK final, scheduled for, is in the middle of our run of finals here today. So definitely tune in for that one. Later on this afternoon, we'll have the build-up from 2:35, and then the final will be at 2:40 local time. Check your time zones to work out the difference wherever you are watching from in the world. There is obviously the scene of some of the clear-up operation. Quite a few karts, understandably, stranded around the circuit that the hard-working safety team here at South Garda Karting are helping to return to Parc Ferme. But we move on to Junior ROK. The juniors have been very, very patient with us to get going for their first of 2 pre-finals. This has been our largest entry here this year. At the start of the race week, we began with 83 drivers. Unfortunately, we have had to say goodbye to 9 of them who have not made it through to the top 72 cut-off, but still very good efforts to be here. International finals, global event. Do hope we get to see Bastian Villalobos, Luciano Wolf, Tommaso Scarato, Mingshan Ma, Alex Chubb, Helmi Maris, Matvey Kupny, Ismet Yilmaz, Matisz Perel, Eric Bagirov and Samuel Delgado in future ROK Cup Superfinals. Unfortunately, they do not go through to the pre-finals in this one. 36 of these 72 drivers will, of course, march on from the pre-finals into the finals. We'll mark through the grid in a moment, but essentially the top 9 rows of these grids, they are the drivers currently in possession of one of those entry positions into the final. They'll be looking to defend their position or strengthen their position with eyes further down the line for one of those prize positions in the top 5 later on today. Those in the second half, they've got work to do, but particularly keep an eye on, say, rows 10 through 13 with how these systems work. Those are the ones who, in reality, are only one good race away from turning the tables and getting themselves through into the final later on today, Daniele.
Assolutamente, faccio seguito a quello che diceva Andrew poco fa. Adesso si cambia un po' situazione, si cambia un po' marcia con questa prima prefinale della Junior ROK, perché ci saranno piloti in varie situazioni, con differenti voglie di mettersi alla prova. Ci saranno i piloti che sono stati davanti per il grosso delle manche in questa settimana, che hanno un po' tutto da perdere, un po' come abbiamo visto per Marchesi, ma non possono certo mollare l'osso in questo momento, perché è importante la posizione con cui proveranno a partire, anche se non sono magari eccessivamente a rischio taglio. Poi ci sono i piloti a cavallo di quello che è l'ipotetica linea del taglio, che ancora non sappiamo bene dove sia, che sanno che devono fare qualcosa in più per star dentro o per rientrare. E poi ci sono i piloti che saranno un po' o la va o la spacca, quelli che partiranno un po' più indietro, che avranno tutto da guadagnare nel tentare di recuperare più posizioni possibili, aggiungere meno punti possibili per rientrare nel novero di quelli che saranno in griglia per la finale di oggi pomeriggio.
So drivers out on circuit then for Junior ROK, the formation laps for the first of these 2 pre-finals. Let's quickly run you through the grid for this one. Tomasz Cikaraki and Nathan Rybczynski, they share the front row. So far in Junior ROK, the big story has been the strength of Team Poland this year. Not just one driver, but I'd say 5 or 6 drivers have a genuine chance from Poland of placing very well. In fact, they've got 5 of the top 6 on the grid for this one. So Cikaraki and Rybczynski is mentioned on row 1. Boris Blaszczyk and Victoria Farfus on row 2. Farfus breaking the domination of the Polish drivers from that row. Alex Mirowski and Blażej Kostreva, the Polish champion, they go from row 3. Robert Pulbert and Mierzanki on row 4. Papafilippou and Tyres on row 5, Schmuck and Patepa row 6, Garrow and Weil row 7, Masoto and Gablikowski on row 8, Serra and Mitaki are the last of the drivers on this grid, currently inside the top 36 on row 9, Vanigioli and Malavi Prezovic on row 10, Tyres and Carr on row 11, Zeng and Kostecki on row 12, Lagan and Kostier on row 13, Carson and Uch on row 14. We are racing for the first time today in Junior ROK. Good start for those on the pole side of the grid. Cikaraki will lead through the first couple of corners. Rybczynski, it's an incident that takes out quite a few of the second half of the field. So that's going to be game over. Game over for a number of drivers. We say it in these pre-finals that if you're in the second half of the grid, you need a good start to move your way through. That has not happened. I'm also seeing on our screens that I don't think we've got Jay Kostecki out there. Jay Kostecki, who was the winner of the under-10 mini-race last year, stepped up straight into the juniors. Hopefully it's just a little error with the transponder, but if not, that sadly is the end of the competition for Jay Kostecki. A decent go from the Australian, considering he's one of the youngest drivers in this junior category this year. End of the first lap then. Cikaraki leads from Rosic. Good start from Rosic from grid 5. Pulbert up to 3rd. Rybczynski 4th. Papafilippou's had a good start. Blaszczyk, Smuk, Farfus and Kostreva all in the top 10, completed by Masoto. Who have we noted as out of the race, Daniele? I guess I say there were quite a few involved there.
Yeah, I'd say that a few drivers were involved, but were able to keep it going, like Toyerson, Kosur or Gorini. About that is the 2 tires involved. Ethan was able to keep it going. At some point, Quinn is out of the race alongside with Serra, Vanigioli, Malave, and Costea, and of course, as you said, out of the race could be Jay Kostecki, as far as it's not a transponder problem, because it resulted to us that he did not start the race.
Yeah.
Now it's Chikoraki leading the race. Let's focus on what happened up front, because Mrozik on that Polish domination, like you said, is a Polish duo leading the race over Pulbere, Rybczynski and Papafilipu. And now let's see if Chikoraki is able to create some gap, create some space, but Mrozik is there because he really needs points to improve his situation, and of course his target will be to win this race.
Mrozik's had a couple of results so far this week, 2 seconds and a third. The reason why he started a little bit further back in this pre-final was bookending the first and fifth rounds of the heats phase with 11th places. Chikoraki, no stranger to the Italian circuits, of course. He's been racing a full campaign in the ROK Cup Italia Championship, the national championship this year. Finished second in the end in the junior category. Has been battling with the likes of Ricardo Branghero and Matteo Mellis. The leaders going through turns 7 and 8 now, looking good still at the front of the field. Who's performing heroics? Who's looking at saving their weekend? Zihan Zeng, I think, is doing that. Zihan is up 10 places, started 23rd in this race, so that will convert to 45th, 46th overnight in the penalty standings. That could be enough. That could be the kind of drive that keeps a weekend going. Similarly, Papasavas is having a good go at trying to stay in the competition. He's up 13 places to 16th. There is a mechanical flag out for a driver. We'll try and work out who that was for in a moment. Meanwhile, back at the front of the field, Chikoraki, Mrozik, pretty close at the moment. Pulbert there in third. But I think we need to keep an eye on Błażej Kostreva, the Polish champion this year. Just off the back of this group at the moment, Daniele. The technical flag, by the way, is for Milos Smuk. So Smuk's going to be out of this race. Ooh, I think Smuk is going to be waiting. Started this race in 11th, so will have been in the top 25 at least overnight. A retirement, well, I think the fact that there's been a number of retirements before Smuk is going to be going in for the technical flag might just save the driver there of that cart that's been given a technical flag for 267. But for Chikoraki, a lot of pressure now. Mrozik's going to go for the race lead, Daniele. Great move into turn 5.
And he will, probably will allow other drivers to attack, yes. And that's something they probably didn't realize, is that Kostreva is charging on them. He's the fastest on track in the last few laps, was the fastest on track, and he's trying to reduce the gap. And if they fight, they will allow to Kostreva to get in there for the top 5 position. Watch out for the multiple attack three-way on the last corner. There's no space for everybody. Pulbera over Chikoraki, I'd say, and Kostreva is getting there, overtaking over Papafilipu.
Kostreva is the fastest of this group for me, Daniele. He's been setting some really, really good lap times the last couple of tours of the circuit. I mean, yes, he's now kind of marooned in the middle of this pack, but he could be making an impact with 2 laps of this one to go. Mrozik away and clear at the moment. If the juniors following can get themselves organised, there's still a chance here that they could win this race. Chikoraki there in the green helmet is up to P2. Rybczynski back up to 3rd, so Pulbert has dropped down a couple of spots. Papafilipu still in the mix as well, up 4 positions from where the driver flying the flag for Greece started. Last lap board is going to be shown in a moment's time to Alexander Mrozik. We've not seen a race win so far this week for Alexander Mrozik, but such is junior ROK category. There was a yellow flag out there just through the first couple of corners of the circuit. I wonder if someone's had a bit of a problem out there. We've been saying a phrase, haven't we, for those at the circuit: predict the unpredictable in junior ROK, and this shows it once again, that you'd think in a pre-final, it's going to be a driver who's won one of the races so far this weekend. Not at all. Mrozik has done a great job here and looks to be taking victory.
It is indeed right, and you can see it from Mrozik. navigating towards his victory. Meanwhile, Chikoraki, Rybczynski and Pulber are fighting for the second spot. Dive in the last corner is Mrozik taking the checkered flag, and it's Chikoraki over Rybczynski and Pulber at the end. They were very, very close to each other. Kostreva was able to pull out Papafilippou at the end. They battled each other for the 5th position in the whole last 2 laps. But Kostreva was able to take the position away from the Greek diver. Then it's Masotto in P7. And then it's Farfus, Victoria Farfus ending up in P8. Potepa P9. Blaszczyk running up the top 10 is Karo, Taki, Papasvas, Lagan, Wal, Carson, Zhang, Stambok, Zanki. Then it's Krivioruk, Flora, Pongrats, Uch, Eaton Tires, Kostur, Gavilkowski, Perel, and Schmuck. That's the classified junior rock for this pre-final. Again, we had Cargorini, Queen Tires, Ceravani, Joli, Malave, Kosteki, and Kostea. That they did not finish or start in Kosteki's situation, the race.
Yeah, and I think the sad thing for all of those drivers, I think that's going to be the end. I'm just looking through where that list of drivers started. They were all around, to say, that region of row 10 down to row 13, where you need to make good early progress. Sadly, that they won't make it through to the top 36. Developing situation as well at the top of the order. So Chikoraki, second place, another 2 points, moves from 10 to 12. Not bad. That could still be a score that gives him pole position for the final, but it's not guaranteed. Reason being, Alex Rogovski, who will start on pole position for the next race, and shared the same number of points as Chikoraki overnight. So if Rogovski can win this next pre-final, Rogovski will take pole position for the final later on today. That race, of course, will be out on track in a short while. A couple of carts just being recovered back to the paddock and clearing the circuit, making sure that we are all safe and ready to go. Thank you very much for joining us here today. It's the finals day for the 2025 ROK Cup Superfinal. You're listening to commentary from Andrew Mather and Daniele Laspina here in the box, just overlooking the start line. Continues to be a beautiful day here in Lonato. Air temperature around 15 degrees, so that's creeping up towards, I think we're going to get probably 17 or 18 degrees later on today. These are good racing conditions, aren't they, Daniele? We're into the autumn now, as we'll touch on again. Last year, I think we had probably enough rain for the next 4 years worth of ROK Cup Superfinals, and well, at least we've had a dry one here this year. But these are pretty good conditions. You know, it's cool, good for the engines, good for the tyres, good for the drivers as well. That of course they're not racing in the heat that sometimes can afflict this part of the world and other times of the year. And it's been like this throughout the course of the competition. So the track is nicely rubbered in with all those races going on across the course of the last few days. Junior ROK second pre-final coming up, Daniele. Again, we'll say that phrase, predict the unpredictable, but have a go. Who do you think is going to win this next race of the drivers that we've got out on circuit?
Yeah, that's a bad move by you.
I know.
I don't deserve that. Like you said, predict the unpredictable. It's the thing to keep in mind. I really don't know who could be the winner of this pre-final. Apart from the winner, who could be the driver that can gain the most from this on the grid? I think that I can easily say that there are two drivers that they were able maybe not to win a lot, or if I remember correctly, they didn't win a single heat, but they were always there. And they were always able to keep it constant. That's the point on a class like Junior ROK. And I'm talking about Matteo Mellis and even Amman. They are true drivers that were able every single time to pass through all the problems, all the stuff that's happening on track. And they were able to keep on going, even when they are against the fastest drivers of this class. So I would keep an eye on them because they were able to pull off a win in some case, like Melis did, and to stay there even when the problems are there. And speaking of a man, Swissman was able to always stay on the top 5, top 6 finish during the whole week. So it doesn't need to win these two. It just needs to do as lower as it can on points to be there on the grid for the final.
Absolutely. As I say, some good tips there, mate. That was well dealt with. Absolutely right. Matteo Melis, 3 wins so far this week. You'll probably wonder, well, why is he not starting at the front of the grid? That sounds like a pretty good record.
The first one,
P22 in the first round of heats. Second place in the last one. But yeah, Alex Rogowski, first, fourth, second, fourth, and first. That's a score of 10. Gives him pole position for this one. Ivan Aman, as you've mentioned, always in the top 6. Only once out of the top 3 for the Innovate competition driver in the 256. Ricardo Branguero, definitely another driver that we need to keep an eye on in this race. The Maris 61 team had some good performances with him so far this week. A win, a couple of seconds, but that P29 in the very first round of heats is really what set Branguero back. Branguero won the last round of the ROK Cup Italia Championship in September. So in terms of the form book, Branguero looking pretty good heading into this weekend. Another driver that I'm probably going to throw in there as well, Leonardo De Grandi, was one of our fastest drivers at the start of the week. He's had a bit of bad luck through the heats so far, but not a bad position. Starts this race from P10. Other drivers to keep an eye on. Again, this is another one of those races where if you're in that kind of area from row 7 through row 13, you've got some form of job to do. If you're on row 7, 8, 9, realistically, you need a race where you go forward a couple of positions. You just don't lose any positions in this one. So keep an eye on the likes of Mikkel Sajak, another one of the Polish drivers that we've been talking about. It really is a very strong contingent. As I say, we've both been doing this event for... I'm going to say a phrase now that's going to make you scowl at me, because it'll make us feel old. We've been doing this now for more than half a decade, and I would say this is the strongest contingent of Polish drivers in the junior ranks that I've ever seen. We've seen them be very strong, for example, in the mini categories in previous years, and obviously as their drivers are now stepping up through the age categories, they're keeping that level of performance going. In what's a very strong national championship as well for ROK Cup Poland. So Sajak is an example of that. Jack Moore as well. Good to see a good number of the South Africans again here this week. He's just on the cusp at the moment. Starts on row 9, and then a couple of those drivers that, as I say, will need to move forward. But we've just seen how things can go awry, perhaps, for drivers on rows 10 through 13. But Paul Becker's name jumps out at me. Driver flying the flag for Thailand, starts on row 11. Could move through. And Matteo Peruccio as well, one of the many drivers for Zanki Motorsport, those distinctive colours of yellow and blue, has a chance here. But they've got to move forward. They've got to make sure they get through that first lap without any problems, and then probably gain at least 5-6 positions to turn the tide when we get to the end of this race.
Sarà una prefinale interessante, insomma, l'abbiamo già visto con la con la prefinale junior precedente, molto può succedere, ci sono piloti che sono stati capaci nel corso della settimana di piazzarsi sempre, nonostante magari anche qualche incertezza o qualche problema nel corso di almeno una delle manche e delle batterie, altri piloti che sono stati piuttosto veloci a livello generale nel corso della settimana, quindi sarà qualcosa di interessante. Vedremo soprattutto quanta voglia ci sarà da parte dei piloti a cavallo del taglio. È presto e soprattutto è difficile anche fare i tagli per chi è a cavallo, per fare i calcoli per chi è a cavallo del taglio, e vedere quanto serve è la cosa più intelligente che si può provare a fare, e cercare di spingere, cercare di arrivare più avanti possibile e vedere cosa può poi succedere una volta tagliato il traguardo. Let's go through the starting grid for this Junior ROK Pre-Final B. As we were saying, Rogowski will start from the pole position with even Amman on the first row alongside with him. Then it will be Matteo Melis and Kasper Kluk. He won the first one of the qualifying heats during the week on the second row. Then it's Skie Yufei and Nikodem Oziecki in the third row. Riccardo Brangero, a very fast driver through all the week, and Andrea Proverbio on fourth row. Dorian Malek and Leonardo De Grandi in fifth. Norbert Plazewski and Leonardo Serravalle on sixth row. Then it's Cole Medeiros and Maxim Becker. Nikola Nikolic, Mikhail Zayak, Jack Moore, Roman Doria, Davis Beck, Stanislav Grapowski, Francesco Iannuzzo, Paul Becker, Gabriel Miche, Alan Diakabiak, Matteo Peruccio, Irwan Cendenish, Sebastian Brandt, Jakub Zrazil, Enrico Villa, Riker Magro, Azia Nicolae, Vasco De Vito, Bruno Fu, August Marangot, Stefano Zamponi, and Max Bellomer Renard at the end of the grid. See, the Junior ROK in this second pre-final, completing the formation lap. Let's see if we are good to go. The first attempt here, like we saw before, Plazewski a little bit in on late on the grid, but the Norwegian driver made it. Another go around for an extra formation lap. It's 8 laps for this pre-final too. So we have all the ingredients, I say, to enjoy this race. The unpredictability, a lot of fast drivers, even starting from the 4th, 5th or 6th row.
Yep.
And a lot of drivers that had some hiccups during the week, and now they need to score the lowest point as possible. Not maybe to make it necessarily to make it to the final, but to make it in the best way.
Yeah, we often talk in the categories about, a driver on 0 points. Well, that was over pretty quickly in the juniors. By the time we got to the end of the second round,
if I remember correctly, after just 5 qualifying hits.
Yes, yeah, halfway through the second, or just after halfway through the second round of 5 rounds of qualifying heats, we had no more undefeated drivers in this one. So, Alex Rogowski, can he win this race? If he does, it will be pole position for the final. Out of the final corner, we're green, we're racing. Good start from both sides of the grid. Ivan Aman got a very good run, in fact, through through towards turns 1 and 2. May have got the jump there on Rogowski. Oh, and again, big incident down at turn number 2 into 3. Second race in a row. That was almost a carbon copy incident here in this second Junior ROK race. Iannuzzo, I think, is not taking the start of this race. Just to note, Francesco Iannuzzo not showing us on our timing screens. Didn't do the formation laps. Big scrap going on at the very front of the field. This race is on once again in Junior ROK. The leaders heading through these first couple of corners. Rogowski trying to hold on here with Aman. The 215 coming through the field as well. Out of the final corner, we'll count them through at the end of this first lap. It is indeed Rogowski from Melis, from Aman, from Oziecki in 4th place. Brancaro's had a good start as well. Daniele, the winner of the last round of ROK Cup Italia here back in September, has got up to 5th place. Sie Huafei as well in 6th place. Good start for Paul Becker. Paul Becker, one of those drivers needing to move through the field, is up 7 places to 15th. Brilliant scrap going on here for the race lead. Rogowski knows that only first position will do if he wants to be on pole position for the final later on today. 2nd place, we're dropping back behind Chikiraki. Melis is trying to find his way through. Matteo Melis, who's won 3 heats so far this week, is all over the back of the 235, and that's bringing more drivers into play. Aman's still there. Oziecki, Brangero, Shea, Proverbio, is there also. Sarah Valle's had a bit of bad luck so far this week, the Canadian driver. A decent start here, is up to 9th place.
It was a bad start for Kluk. It was up there, but was kind of on the lap in the very beginning, and now he's down in P11. What a fight for the top spot, and down turn 5 we go, and it's gonna be important, interesting. Watch out, guys, for the touches entering P5. A switch position for the lead of the race, and just on a side note, Iannuzzi did not start, and Peruccio, Villa, and Marangos, the 3 drivers retired after that crash.
A couple of drivers taking a route through the dirt on the exit of the high-speed chicane. Matteo Mellis, though, is kicking. He's got the bit between his teeth now to win this race. It won't give him pole position for the final, but it will move him up the order. It'll move him up at least 1 row. At the moment, things are looking like this in the intermediate points. Chikaraki and Rybczynski, they would be on the front row with 12 and 15 points. Rogowski, now down to 6th place in this race, would be on the inside of row number 2 as there's a move there for 2nd place. Brangero down the inside of a man. Sweetly done there by the Italian, through into 2nd spot. That's going to improve things for Brangero and his positioning on the grid. So just to run through the rest of the top 8 as things stand. So Rogowski and Aman would be row 2. Mellis and Mrozik would be row 3. Blazczyk and Farfus, Victoria Farfus, would be on row 4. It's still wide open, in my opinion, here, Daniele. From the drone shot, we see them run out to that final corner, blast down towards turn number 1. Half of this pre-final done then. Mellis leads from Brangero, but Brangero just set the fastest lap of the pre-final so far. 50.097, was a 1/10 and a half quicker than Mellis last time around, with the gap at only 0.35. Brangero is going to be on the scene here. He's just gone purple again through sector number 1. Mellis is going to have to get his defending skills out.
Mellis si dovrà presto difendere dall'arrivo di uno scatenato fin qui Riccardo Brangero. Abbiamo visto un pilota andare piuttosto largo alla S un paio di giri fa, De Grandi, che ha perso qualcosa come una ventina di posizioni solo con quella manovra, ma stiamo lì davanti. Mellis, Brangero davanti ad Amanna, e poi Osiecki, Rogowski e Proverbio a inseguire. Ma adesso l'impressione, senza neanche guardare il cronometro, ormai visiva, è che Brangero sia francobollato al posteriore di Mellis. I 2 italiani provano a sfidarsi per la vetta di questa prefinale, quando abbiamo superato da poco la metà gara, e adesso stiamo andando incontro al completamento del 6° giro. Ci proverà qua la 5, infatti così è, lo fa Brangero, attacca profondo e va a conquistarsi la prima posizione. Era molto più veloce nell'inseguimento. Vediamo se adesso il passo gara gli permetterà di scappare via, oppure Mellis deciderà che non è il caso di lasciargli quello spazio per andarsene. Entrano verso l'ultimo settore, quello del pettine dei 3 tornantini consecutivi, che sono un buon momento per provare a superare. Mellis non ha lo spazio e l'occasione per farlo, forse no, neanche all'ultima curva. Allora si va a 2 giri dalla fine con Brangero davanti a tutti. Mellis, poi Amanna a inseguire, Rogowski, Osiecki, Thier, Proverbio, Kluk, Serravalle, Becker. Questa è la top 10. Brangero cut a little bit of pace, chasing Mellis. Let's see if he can create some gap for the very end of this race to take the P1 in this pre-final.
We'll see. We're on the last 2 laps of this one. Mellis is responding here to this pace from Brangero. Mellis has got the benefits, of course, of a bit of slipstream now. Sat in the wheel track to the 212. He's just gone purple through sector number 1. But Brangero's got good speed off of the medium speed corners you just saw there. Just edged away from Mellis out of turn number 11, through 12, through 13, through 14 to finish a lap. Final lap board is going to be out here. Brangero's lead is 3.5 tenths. Mellis has got to think about the bigger picture as well, because at the moment he's still in 5th place on the grid for the final. Winning this race would not turn things over to take 4th place. And again, there's an argument that you don't want to start on the outside column of the grid here at Lonato. 5th place running down to turn 1 might be a better spot to start than 4th. But Brangero back on form here. This is the first race we've seen Brangero not with Chikaraki. Those two have gone wheel to wheel through every single one of the heats so far. But Brangero, Mellis is closing, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. No, he's going to have a look down the inside into the final corner. Brangero holds on, takes the pre-final win. Mellis P2, Aman third, Rogovski fourth. Had the fastest lap on the last lap there, but it's not enough to turn over the deficit to Chikaraki. This result will mean that Chikaraki is your pole sitter for the 2025 Junior ROK Cup Super Final later on this afternoon. Rogovski will start alongside on the first row rather. The rest of the top 10 look like this: Azieki, Huafei in 6th, so Valle up 5 places to 7th. Maxim Becker will be through. Nice drive, up 6 spots to P8. Was one of those drivers just in the danger zone of being just inside the top 36 cutoff. He'll be fine through to the final. Kluk 9th, Proverbio in 10th. All of these drivers will be going through. Plashevsky, Malek, Nikolic, Moore, Becker, Paul Becker, Jakubiak and Brand. All in the top half, completed by the Grandi. I think Jack Moore might have made it through there. Yeah, Jack Moore will have gone through, and I think Paul Becker stands a good chance of overturning the deficit that the driver of the 226 had overnight. So drivers who I don't think are going to be continuing: Beck, I don't think will be going further. Medeiros, Grabowski, Doria, Chen Danish, Magro, Zamponi, Fu, Zidrazil, De Vito, Sayak, Mike, Belhome and Nicolay. They all either moved forward but just not enough. Didn't get into the first half of the field for that one, or moved backwards. So will not be moving up the order in the penalty points standings. Out of that one, Januzzo, Peruccio, Villa and Marangos. Yeah, that'll be the end of the weekend for all of those drivers. The grid at the moment looks like this: Chikaraki and Rogovski on row 1 for the Junior ROK final later on this afternoon. Vivchinsky and Aman on row 2. Mellis and Ruzik on row 3. And we've just seen 2 very good performances from both of those drivers, so keep an eye on them. Blazczyk and Farfus will be on row 4. We'll bring you more of the standings as and when we receive them. And that Junior ROK final is due to go off from 2:15. For any updates on the timetable, keep an eye on the website. So we'll see juniors out again later on. We will shift towards the minis next. 4 mini platform races to get through the order through these pre-finals. The under 10 mini category will go first with their 2 pre-finals. And the Mini ROK Under 10 category, introduced into the competition last year, once again, across the 2 categories, over 100 mini drivers this weekend. But I quite like this split of the under 10s and the not under 10s. Gives more drivers the opportunity, of course, of racing deep into the weekend, developing more and more through the course of these competitions. It was Jake Ostecki who won the under 10 category in 2024, becoming the inaugural champion at this level, ahead of Colton Schniegenberg and Robert Pulbert. Robert Pulbert we've already seen earlier on today, and we've got another set of drivers ready to go. The other thing I do quite like about this category is that we've got 50 of the minis in the under 10s, 54 in the full mini category, means everyone gets through to finals day. They all have a chance to race through and perform here in front of the cameras. There on your screens is Leo Kralev. Very good season for Leo Kralev. Was the champion, or is the champion, of the ROK Cup Italia National Championship here this year. Won the final round here at Lonato back in September. So we know he's got good form. Other runners to keep an eye on. There's the number 56 of Cooper Lopez. Lopez has been very quick in race trim so far this week. The driver flying the flag for Venezuela in this race. But it's been very close at the front as well. As we continue to have a look at some of the drivers in the midfield. There will be a cut-off for this one, so we will sadly be saying goodbye to probably about just over a quarter of the field after these pre-finals. Only 36 places, as mentioned, available in the final from the grid, the entry of 50. Other drivers you can see on your screens here in the Zanki Motorsport number 13. This is Xishuan Zhang. Many drivers from China racing here this year. Good package to be on board there, of course, with the Zanki Motorsport team. Nikolai Petrus there in the number 20. But privateer entry in that one. Quite a few privateer entries in this category, of course. Kornowska there in the number 14. But let's to give you a bit of an overview of how the races have gone down so far this week. Close, no driver completely dominating as you'd come to expect here in the Mini ROK Under-10s. Jaden Francisco will have pole position in this one, and a fairly simple, well, I say a simple job to describe, not a simple job to execute. 4 points on the board for Francisco, virtue of a couple of second places and a win across the 3 rounds of heats that we've had so far for all of the minis. That is a share of the lead in the intermediate standings. The other driver on 4 will be in pre-final B, of course. Oliver Williamson will have pole position. So if Francisco can win this race, that will be it done. It will be the awarding of pole position for the final to the driver flying the flag for Canada. A reminder for those at the track and an update for those who've not been at the track and not been hearing this one so far for the last 3 days. Any ties in the penalty point standings, we go back to timed qualifying on Wednesday. That sets the difference. That's the tiebreaker for any drivers that are tied on points at the end of these pre-finals. Drivers rolling out onto the grid then, the youngest drivers here this year at the 2025 ROK Cup Superfinal. This is pre-final A in Mini ROK Under-10. Jaden Francisco has pole position. Alongside him on the front row of the grid, it's Brazil's Alvaro Medeiros. Nathan Lucas starts on row 2 alongside Leo Kralev. Giovanni Venturino had a terrible time in qualifying. This is the first time we've seen the Italian starting towards the front of the field. He's done a lot of overtaking so far this week, so keep an eye on the number 35 starting 5th. On that third row, Giovanni is joined by Andreas Drugau. Samuel Del Pozzo and Cooper Lopez there on row 4. It's then Mateo Gomez and Mohamed Wibowo on row 5. Logan Rurik and Xishuan Zhang, they start on row 6. On the 7th row of the grid, Sibyl Basalama and Nikolai Petrus on row 7. Radoslav Chernecki as position on row number 8 for this one, alongside Keda Kornowski, Alka Castro and Patrick Kowalczyk are the last 2 drivers at the moment inside the top 36 on this grid. They start on row 9. If they hold those positions and move forward, they'll be fine. They'll be going through to the final, no doubt. Luashu Mathbula and Axel Tibbs, they go from row 10. It's then Giorgio Sapignoli and Anna Malcolm going from row 11. John Farfus, younger brother of Victoria Farfus, starts on row 12, is alongside Samuel Avila in debut races, debut ROK Cup Superfinals for those two. Theodore Litius completes the grid here of 25 drivers on row 13, so half of the 50-strong field for this year's Mini ROK Under-10 category. Points rolling over from yesterday, of course. What are we going to see here in this first pre-final for the Mini ROK Under-10s? They're green at the first time of asking. We're racing for 8 laps once again here at Lonato. Francisco leads into the first couple of corners. Medeiros still up there as well. Oh dear, 2 drivers have spun round at the back of the field. One of them has been able to get going again. There's been more drivers in trouble off of turn number 3. So turns 2 and 3 being a bit of a hot spot of incident on the first lap so far today. I think Lopez has had a problem. Lopez was one of those drivers who's not come through sector number 1. Kornowski as well. Mathbula and Tibbs also not through sector 1. That's not good news from some drivers. Again, Daniele needing good results, needing to come through the field, but they're going to have big setbacks in the early stages of this race.
Yes, it is, and it's going to be very as far as our concern, it's the first time that we have a clean start, and that's that's something in this day. In this day, at some point, it's now or never for the mini ROK under 10. Like you said, it's pretty much the same that what we saw with the junior ROK. So let's see who moves first, and if this is gonna be a peace race for the top drivers. There's the overtake by Medeiros over Dal Pozzo for the third position, but Dal Pozzo getting side by side, trying to answer it back up the hill, and down we go. The first and second sector intersection is there. It's he tried again down the comp. Meanwhile, Francisco is leading, and Lucas is trying to stay on the tail of the Canadian driver. Francisco che guida la corsa abbastanza agevolmente con Lucas a seguire, Dal Pozzo e Medeiros che si stanno un po' dando del filo da torcere per la terza posizione. Cercare di stare ovviamente nei limiti. Il duello Dal Pozzo Medeiros, che adesso presto si trasformerà in una lotta a tre, con anche l'arrivo di Kralev molto veloce nel corso della settimana. Qualche incidente di percorso nello stare al passo, e ora chiaramente avrà bisogno di stare lì, mentre Ventorino guida poi un quartetto formato da Drugao, Roerig e Wibowo, che sta provando a colmare il gap. Lì davanti intanto l'ultima tornata erano stati praticamente identici dal punto di vista del tempo. Francisco e Lucas, vediamo se lo sono anche stavolta. Ripassano sul traguardo. Adesso il rilevamento cronometrico sarà anche interessante. 56,6 di Francisco, 56,3 da parte di Lucas. Nathan Lucas, che sta sicuramente provando adesso ad agganciare la testa della corsa e a provare l'attacco. Ci prova adesso in curva 5. Lucas the overtake over Francisco at turn 5. Clean. And now he's leading the race. It was a good overtake, a good move, clean and sweeping out. And now let's see if the Polish driver can take some advantage. Meanwhile, behind the fight between Dal Pozzo, Kralev and Medeiros are gonna... It's now a huge fight with Drugao, Ventorino, Wibowo, Roerig. All of them are there fighting for a spot behind the top two drivers. 4 laps gone, 4 laps to go. Francisco and Lucas now leading again, with the Canadian back on top. But with Kralev, Medeiros and Dal Pozzo, Drugao, Wibowo, Venturino and Roerig down in the mix for the third position. For a lot, if not all of those drivers, those points are so much important. Considering the final.
Yeah, they are indeed. Francisco doing the job necessary at the moment, though, to secure that pole position. Who's having a bit of a hero's run? Who's potentially saving their weekend? Peters is up 4 places. That should be good enough for the driver from flying the flag for Norway to go through. He's in the top 10. Keep an eye on Sapignoli. Sapignoli up 8 places so far in this race. Is up to 13th, and only I think it was only 5 or 6 places outside of the intermediary cut-off last night. So that could be enough. That could be enough, for Sapignoli. Oh, no, that's to say that. First curse of the commentator for the day. Sapignoli's just lost a couple of those positions, but yeah, keep an eye on kart number 47 out there. Could well be moving through into the final with this kind of performance. Looks like Francisco's just starting to stretch the legs now. Daniele has extended this lead out to 2/3 of a second over Lucas. This is a good performance. Francisco led overnight. This would be a second win of the race week so far if the Canadian can bring this one home. Great scrap going on as well. Look at that for 4th place and all the way down to probably around 10th there. We'll try and pick up that result. Or that battle, I think it was more over 6th place in the end. as it's broken down a bit. Venturino's up to 6th place, Stroik in 7th, Rabowo 8th, Dragao and Peters in 9th and 10th. But it's one of the things I love about particularly the third sector here, Daniele. Those back and forth hairpins, we'll see more of it this afternoon, of course, when we get to those big races, when we get to the Superfinals. It's a really good area of the circuit to attack and counter-attack.
It's always to understand where you want to attack, to not let the opponent have an answer, but it's not easy because you have to wait to the last hairpin. This is a little bit different than the other two, a little bit wider, and of course it's toward the straight, so maybe it could be late. But you know that if you attack at the first one, when you arrive from a longer straight, it could be a deeper break, but it could be also easier to make a mistake. So it's a really good part of the track, a really interesting part of the track, where you have to feel confident to make a move. Francisco now, meanwhile, leading the race, and now is pretty much confident that this almost a second gap could be enough in this last lap to not worry him till the very end of this race. He fought for this top spot. He defended and take it back from Lucas. That now has Kralev on his tail, but maybe it's too late for Kralev too to improve his third position. Then it's Dal Pozzo, Medeiros, Venturino all behind, trying to understand who will be behind the top 3 spot. Francisco winning the pre-final over Lucas and Kralev. Maybe Kralev needed one more lap to attack Nathan Lucas, that is now in P2. Then it's Dal Pozzo over Medeiros, and Medeiros, the Brazilian guy, was able to defend himself from Venturino. P6 for him. Wibo P7 and Roerig, they were all there against again with a lot of drivers involved in that fight. It's Drugao in P9, Lopez in P10, and also Pietras in P11. They were all together to the finish line. Zhang ending up in 12, Sapignoli 13th, and then it's P14 with Zernitsky, Castro in P15, Basalma in P16, Liku P17, then it's Gomez, Avila, Farfus, Malcolm, Matebula, and Kornowski. The last one at the finish line, at the checkered flag with Kowalski and Tibbs, like we said, they did not finish the race, the first lap, indeed.
Yeah, sadly, I think that'll be the end of the weekend for both Tibbs and Kowalczyk. Tibbs started row 10, Kowalczyk row 9, but we'll both lose positions within the intermediate points. Kowalczyk was only just inside overnight, so sadly will not go through. But for the opposite end of things, Jaden Francisco, that is pole position confirmed. Yes, it could still be a tie on points with Oliver Williamson, but this is where the tiebreaker would then come into play from timed qualifying on Wednesday. And Francisco's always going to win that one versus Williamson. So a job well done for the Canadian. Canadians, of course, having a good record in the mini categories over the years. Obviously, this was pre the era of the under-10 split. You think back to 2021, Jensen Burnett taking the mini victory here at Lenato. Will we see Jaden Francisco add his name to the roll of honour? We will see later on this afternoon. We've not going away from the under-10s quite yet, because of course we've got pre-final B coming up, Daniele. And still a chance, of course, for Oliver Williamson to secure a space. Quite a good chance, actually, for Oliver Williamson to secure a space in or on the front row for the final later on today. We'll have a 7-point advantage. Let's actually give you that top 8 as things stand. So obviously some of these drivers have raced their pre-final, some of them have not. Francisco and Williamson still tied on 4. Medeiros moves to 11 points, so still holding there in 3rd. Trainer now 4th on 12. Bergman has gone up to 5th place on 14, but obviously is yet to race. That's because Lucas, with that 2nd place, moves to 15 points. And down to 6th, Beretta 7th on 20, Kralev 8th on 22. Drivers out on circuit, good quick turnaround for the Mini ROK Under-10s. Let's take you through the grid for pre-final B. Oliver Williamson has pole position, is joined on the front row of the grid by Eduardo Trainer. Josh Bergman of the United States starts on row 2, is joined by Francis Farrell Beretta de Gar. Philip Steck and Azil Osbahdirs go from row number 3. It's then Noah Conhi and Murillo Dominguez on row 4. Antonio Rachelis, who's got one of the best awnings in single awnings in the whole paddock. A really big banner showing Antonio as ready to race here at Lonato. The driver from the Philippines starts on row 5 alongside the youngest driver in the paddock, Zev Gottschalk, the younger of the Gottschalk brothers, flying the flag for the USA. They originally born on the Caribbean island of Curacao, if I've got my facts correct on that one. So that's your top 10. Elias Boulier starts on row 6, is alongside Leon Guidicelli. Reset Altinor is not going to be out on circuit, I believe. Had a sizable crash yesterday. We do wish Reset the best to be back on track very soon, but sadly will not take the start in this one, so it'll just be Matteo Mani on row 7. Nico Farden and Zach Boshoff need good races here. They start on row 8, the last of those currently inside that cut-off zone. Gabriel Mara starts alongside Philip Flans. Tiago Romero and Miguel Spinner, they're on row 10. It's then Atis Carolim and Juan Gonzalez on row 11. Antonio Martin and Bodie Ventner starts on row 12. Ronald Bodie Ventner starts on row 12, and Kuryo Kayatake completes a 25-strong field. And a reminder as well that, of course, there is that cut-off. 14 drivers from these two pre-finals will not make it through to the final later on today. We are racing once again at the first time of asking. Good start there from the Mini ROK Under-10s. That's how it's done. Towards the first couple of corners. Can they make it through without incident? Looking good through turns 2 and 3. That's a much better start. This group of Mini ROK Under-10s showing the older drivers how to get through the first couple of corners. Down towards turn 5. Are they all going to be safe through here? Of course they are. This is good stuff from the Mini ROK Under-10s. I think there's been a slight delay for Osbahadir. Osbahadir's dropped down the order a bit, the driver from Turkey 8, but they're all through towards turns 10 and 11. It's the number 32 of Josh Bergman who's had a great start in this one, Daniele. It's Bergman to the lead of this race, so at the moment Williamson will be adding points to his score.
Yeah, it is. Maybe it's Odspadir if I didn't saw something wrong. It was like bottle up at the very beginning of the race in turn 1 and turn 2. He needed to get away with it, trying to stay outside, and he lost a lot of time on that fight. Bergman, huge start for him, and now he's leading the race, and he's trying to get away from that with Williamson trailing on him and second, trying to right behind. It's going to be an interesting race because I don't know if, like we saw with the previous race, if anyone can do what Jaden did, what Jaden and Francisco did, or if we will see all race fight for the top spots, because it's pretty much what we saw with the Mini ROK Under-10 whole week long. A lot of drivers fast, a lot of drivers there able to fight for the position that matters, the positions that matters. Ooh, look out there at the last corner, three-way in the back. Everything went good, and that's not something you can count on every single time. Bergman guida la corsa con, adesso più che preoccuparsi lui della prima posizione, c'è movimento per la seconda e la quarta, con Williamson affiancato da Steck per un attimo. Traina che pensa di andare a scavalcare Beretta, ma non trova per ora lo spazio. Insomma, il quartetto è bello compatto lì alle spalle di Bergman, contemporaneamente a cercare di guadagnare posizioni e non cercare di non perdere tempo nei confronti del leader della corsa. Vedremo se c'è movimento. Sì, ce n'è, ci sono tentativi di sorpasso lì ai tornantini, cosa che fa tornare a riavvicinarsi anche Dominguez, Kronji, Gottschalk. Si passa sul traguardo con Stack che è riuscito a mettere le proprie ruote davanti a Williamson. Lo stesso ha fatto Beretta su Traina ed entrambi lo hanno fatto nei confronti di Williamson, con sostanzialmente il pilota oceanico che si è visto sfilare 3 posizioni in un giro. Adesso si trova anche con Dominguez molto vicino. Intanto arriva la segnalazione che è sotto indagine Edoardo Traina da parte della direzione gara, chissà se per la procedura di partenza o per altro, quando abbiamo completato 3 giri degli 8 previsti in questa pre-finale B della Mini ROK Under 10, e praticamente si è ricompattato abbastanza il gruppo, oserei dire almeno fino all'8ª posizione di Gottschalk, se non fino a quella all'11ª di Faradin. Tutti abbastanza vicini, vediamo se qualcuno abbastanza vicino anche da provare a immaginare un sorpasso. Qui con le immagini siamo nella lotta per la 5ª, 6ª posizione. E arriva la notizia di penalità per Traina che a cui vengono inflitti 3 secondi di penalità, probabilmente per partenza anticipata. So probably it's gonna be for a jump start. 3 seconds penalty for Traina. And now is in the mix, is fighting, but they will have 3 seconds added to his race time at the end of the race, and so it will probably ruin a bit this pre-final for him.
Yeah, it's not been going Trainer's way. It's trying to find a way back up the order, but at the moment in 10th place. Once that 3-second penalty has been applied, it'll be some form of, or very likely to be some form of start infringement, either going over the line well ahead of the pole sitter, or possibly breaking out of the tram lines before the lights are out. We can't see the lights from our position here in the box, just so we clear on that one. Bergman still leads this race, though. A good race of Stack so far, up 3 places for the driver of the number 44. Another of the Polish drivers, as I say, they've been probably after Italy, the Polish team the last few years have been the second biggest in terms of numbers, and they have had wins, of course, over the years and in the different categories. But I can't remember a Polish team this strong and this consistent across the various categories than what they have here, Daniele, in 2025.
Yeah, I do agree. Warning flag, meanwhile, to Matteo Meni is now P14. I totally agree. Ooh, watch out for the fight for the second spot. Speaking about Polish with Stack involved, that has been attacked by Beretta, and meanwhile Traina is there. He's still fighting, of course. He needs to do it, even with the 3 seconds penalty. He cannot pull himself away from that fight. It's going to involve 5 cars at turn 5. Ooh, down turn 5 we go with a good deep break from all that. Dominguez is trying to climb those positions and try to set himself as at least 3rd in this moment, if not 2nd. Everything that is happening right now on that huge group that is following Bergman is indeed helping Bergman to stay away from trouble.
I just want to note as well, there's a driver in particular in the middle of the field having a very good run here, Daniele, and could be moving up into the top 36. It's the number 46 of Antonio Martin, the French driver. Started this race 23rd, is now 11th. That's the kind of move, that's the kind of turnover that I reckon will get Martin through into the final. That is a tremendous effort from the young Frenchman as behind. Is getting very close and a little bit squirrely through turn number 5. Who was that falling back through the order, Daniele?
Yeah, deep break, but it was a little bit too late to
Beretta, I think.
To stomp on that brake pedal. It was a risk because there were a lot of cars there, but everything went fine, at least crash-wise. And meanwhile, Bergman is there. Last corner for him is taking the checkered flag with a good and constant and a very intelligent race. He took this pre-final over Stack and Williamson. Then it's good shock ending up in P5, but he's the first one that benefits from the 3 seconds penalty for Traina. It's good shock in P4, Giudicelli in P5, then Dominguez and Beretta and Cronje, that was the driver that tried that very all-in break at turn 5, ending up just in front of Traina after the 3-second penalty in P8, P9 for Traina at the end of the day, and P10 for Elia. Bolshov in P11 with Martin doing a good job, like you said. 11 position gain from the starting grid is ended up in the P12. A very good result for Martin, and that's what he needed to do to get back on track after not a good week overall. Antonio Martin, of course. Then it's all the rest of the field, and we will see who will make it through the cut. It's not a serious cut like we said, but a lot of drivers won't be on track for the final. But we are already heading on the next pre-final. It's a similar situation from the under 10 for the Mini ROK. This pre-final will feature a lot of fast driver, and of course few of them won't be on the final.
Few of the highlights on the screen. Drivers are out on circuit for the pre-final, the first pre-final in Mini ROK. The grid for this one: Nicolo Perico starting on pole position, Alessandro Nani alongside on the second row. We'll bring you those pictures of Mini ROK in a moment whilst we go through these highlights. There's a look at the number 44 going through for Philip Steck. Good drive from Philip Steck. Best result of the weekend so far for Philip Steck. So the rest of the field going through. We'll see the Mini ROK under 10s out later on. Their final will be the first final of the day at 1:20. Let's bring you through the grid then for this one. Nicolo Perico, very good performances so far this week. Starting alongside Alessandro Nani. We saw a very dramatic heat between these two earlier on in the week. What are we going to see here in this pre-final? Ivor Spence and Pavel Markowski on row 2. Marco Verda and Diego Bujas start on row 3. Rafa Guimarães and Andrea Buffo go from row 4. Nixon Cripps and Cruz Priolo go from row 5. Matthias Drexler and Alonso Gonzalez on row 6. Isco Alonso and Lucas Doyon start on row 7. Sam Tatis and Max Piatek go from row 8. The last of those currently inside the top 36 before this one. Max Boshov and Seb de Moisac on row 9. Su Shizhe starts on row 10 alongside Logan Billow. Aris Lutu and Han Yuchen go from 11. Pierre Wolf, Nicola Bertolani on 12. Jackson, Ganidaran, they're on row 13. We are racing at the first time of asking then here in Mini ROK for the first of the pre-finals. Down towards the first two turns we go. Looking good at the moment through this fast part of the course towards turn number 4. Are they all going to make it through? This one driver running out wide a bit, but apart from that, looking pretty good down towards the first hairpin. It's been a good start for Perico, good start for Nani as well at the front of the field, Daniele. Good to see the minis. As I say, I'll say it again, showing up the older drivers at the moment. They seem to be able to get through the first few corners clean.
Yeah, they are of course helped by the fact that the carts are a little bit smaller, but that's not it. They are very, very wise, sometimes maybe wiser than anybody else on track, but that's good, and that's probably on the fact that they are all willing to make it to the final, and they won't risk anything for that. A good start from the pole side of the grid with Perico, Spence and Buzes taking over the top 3 position. A good start from Buffo too. Not a good start from Verde, but he got a lot of work to do during the week to be there and be in a position where he can play his car to make it to the final. Un'ottima partenza quella di Perico, seguito da Spence e subito da Busas e Buffo, che in realtà erano dall'altra parte dello schieramento. Non è stato altrettanto rapido, veloce Marco Verde, ma insomma e un'ottima notizia per lui visto il weekend da Montañeros che non poteva essere altrimenti, e che è riuscito in qualche modo a essere lì a giocarsi le proprie carte in una situazione in cui ovviamente c'è stato tutto il tempo di recuperare. Perico, che si è dimostrato in larghi tratti il più veloce del lotto, si fa vedere, mentre non ho visto cosa è successo lì dietro, ma coinvolti penso in un contatto Han e Crips. Han passa adesso Crips, e potremmo aver perso un pilota piuttosto veloce, che ha avuto anche lui un po' di difficoltà nel corso del weekend. Alti e bassi Nixon Crips, che adesso deve provare a risalire la china, ma non sarà facile in questa prefinale perché adesso si trova piuttosto lontano. Perico prova a fare il vuoto, mentre Spence e Busas tentano di stargli dietro, magari cercando di darsi meno fastidio possibile, con Verde, Markowski, Priolo e Buffo che seguono a corta distanza in pacchetto di mischia sostanzialmente. 3 giri che si vanno a completare in questo momento col passaggio di Perico sulla linea del traguardo, e Busas che è andato davanti a Spence adesso è lui a provare a guidare le operazioni davanti al neozelandese per cercare di andare a ricongiungersi con Nicolò Perico, che resta il leader della corsa. So now it's Busas in P2. He's trying to close the gap with Perico, and it seems like he has what it takes to do it. He was the fastest on the previous lap, even with an overtake over Iver Spencer. The New Zealand guy now is in P3, and now Perico knows that Busas and Spencer are there. Then it's Verde, Markowski, Buffo and Priolo in a four drivers group trying to stay with the top 3. Let's see if Busas has what it takes to overtake Perico now that he's got right on his back.
Is indeed. Perico, in terms of how the points are standing, doesn't necessarily need to win this race. He'll want to, of course, having watched Perico race for a good number of years. I know his spirit behind the wheel of the kart, but he has got a 7-point advantage at the moment in the points. Busas looking down the inside. Clean move through into the lead of the race then. Perico, I think, will take this quite calmly. Maybe just sit on the rear bumper for a few laps, or at least a few corners. He did have a little look there out of turn number 9. Warning flag is out for Isco Alonso. There is Alonso at the moment. Oh, unfortunately down in 20th place. That's not going well for a driver who needed a good performance here to keep inside the top 36. Leaders now coming through the final sector. Spence having a good race as well. Ivor Spence there, another one of the drivers from New Zealand. In 3rd place, good speed at the moment. Personal best on that last lap, Daniele. He's only 3 or 4 tenths behind the leaders at the moment.
È lì, può sperare di ricongiungersi, come diceva Andrew Spence, e di provare a far parte di questa lotta. Adesso Perico che si mette al seguito, all'inseguimento con Busas, cercando di stargli appiccicato, probabilmente magari anche per, tra virgolette, diciamo così, studiarlo, vedere cosa può fare per riprendersi la testa della corsa, ma senza eccessiva fretta. Gonzalez, warning flag anche per lui dopo quella indirizzata ad Alonso di poco fa, e vediamo se l'accendersi della lotta può riportare dentro Spence, che in realtà è lì, il neozelandese, il kiwi non si stacca, e magari può riavvicinare anche Verde e Markowski, che stanno facendo dei passi gara piuttosto importanti. Hanno girato costantemente, lo fanno anche in questo turno, più veloce dei 3 lì davanti, 55,4 per Verde, 55,3 per Markowski, mentre girano sul 55,5 sia Perico che Busas. Lì davanti il tentativo, l'affiancamento per un attimo, poi si riaccoda senza colpo ferire stavolta, almeno stavolta Busas, dopo che Perico è andato a riprendersi la leadership della gara. Spence là sembra essere un po' impiccato, un po' a fatica al ritmo coi primi, mentre ci avviciniamo all'ultimo versante di gara, gli ultimi 2 giri davanti a noi. Vediamo quando, non se, ma quando Gergo Busas andrà a portare l'attacco per tentare di riprendersi la vetta della corsa. Intanto occhio, perché Marco Verde e Pavel Markowski. Sono lì, sono arrivati, ora ogni mossa conta. E può contare parecchio anche per qualcun altro, anche per gli altri piloti. It's gonna be a final rush that we're gonna leave all together, because now there are 5 drivers fighting for the top spot. Busa's trying to move, but Perico closed the gap, and Spence and Verde moves up with a driver that put all of his car just outside the track for a moment. Now Perico needs to watch his back. Meanwhile, Buzas is down in P5 with that off trail. Last part of the track. For this last part of the race, they're fighting for the second spot. Marco Verde trying to overtake Spence, and the fight involved Markowski and Buzas too. Perico once again taking a checkered flag over Spence at the end, and Buzas that were able to get back on P3 at least, overtaking Verde in that fight. A 4-way fight at the very last corner. Markowski ending up in P5. What a showing off. A clean battle for all top 5 drivers. It's Perico winning at the end of the day. It's Perico putting himself in a good position for the final, because still he was the winner for every qualifying heats he participated in. He was the winner for this one, so Perico will start from pole position into this afternoon final, and that's a good news for them. Let's wait to the pre-final B to see what's happened. But Spence, Buzas, Verde and Markowski make the most of it. Doyon in P6, Nani in P7, Buffo in P8, and then Drexler and Priolo rounding up the top 10. Piatek de Muisac, Boshoff, Gonzalez, Alonso, Xu, Luto, Guimarães, Tatis, and below till the P20. But there's no time to think about it and to make a calculation on anything else than the pole position. Perico is now sure the only driver at 0 points that he will start from the pole. Let's see what happened in the pre-final B, because we are already rolling on track with another mini rock pre-final, the other mini rock pre-final. So let's see what happened in this mini rock, in this second mini rock race. The starting grid for this one is Alexander Peliakansky starting from the pole, Asher Pavan in second place. Alongside with him, then it's Giuseppe Noviello and Ava Lawrence in this one, and then it's Garzalik and Frigerio in third row, Mattia Pellin and Dominic Wojcik in P4, Cooper Clavel and Lorenzo Zucchetto in P5 in fifth row. Then it's Jan Chonaki and Axel Gore in sixth row. Then it's Mattias Dominguez, Darren Betea, Luigi Dascoli, Timon Parchevski, Clément Pellet, Thomas Ometto. And then it's Pierce Abdallah, Panos Christodoulou, Dimitar Lazarov, Dominic Clemens, Alessia Giorgia Iacomi, Ayrton John Tonna, Jaden Spillman, Kai Chong, and Leonard Wichislow. 8 laps for this pre-final B2. Let's see if we are good to go at the first try. Yes, we are, in a good start from the leader side of the track with Peliakansky, Noviello, Garzelik, and Mattia Pellin trying to dive on the inside, covering in his P4. What a good start by all of those drivers. We're passing through the first 4 corners with no harm. And down in turn 5, a lot of overtaking attempt there. Someone is raising a little bit of dust with those left tires, but everything went good up the hill and down we go. With a great start by Noviello, he was able to climb on top. Good start from Pellin too. Very good start from Pellin. They started 7th on the grid. He's now up there. Ooh, watch out, guys, for all the drivers that risk something. On that, we pass through the start-finish line for the first time. It's Peliakanski, Grazelik, Pellin, Lawrence. Then it's Noviello, Pavan, Clavel, Cenacchi, Frigerio, D'Ascoli for the first lap. Ooh, watch out, they spread wide open entering turn 5. Pellin, Lawrence and Noviello. Every one of them trying a different strategy, a different line entering that turn. Okay, now Pellin wants work it worse. Lawrence was the best out of it, is in P3 now. Peliakanski and Grazelik, the two Polish drivers, trying to lead the field and leave some space. Oh no, I was wrong, because Grazelik trying to attack at the very last corner. He got it and take the lead of this race. Grazelik, Peliakanski, Noviello, Pellin, Lawrence. That's the order now, with Grazelik not wasting any time and try to take the top spot of this race. Grazelik non perde tempo in questa corsa, attacca subito Peliakanski, prova a prendersi e tenersi la vetta della corsa, mentre Noviello e Pellin vanno a duellare là dietro. Lawrence, Cenacchi e gli altri che stanno battagliando per le posizioni di rincalzo. Gruppone di 5 piloti a inseguire le due coppie lì davanti, con Lawrence e Cenacchi che cercano di farsi un minimo di spazio, meglio Cenacchi e poi Lawrence, a dire la verità, nell'ordine in cui stanno transitando e stanno per transitare, con anche Clavel che è riuscito a mettersi bene in mezzo e a scavalcare Lawrence. Grazelik, Peliakanski, Noviello, Pellin, Cenacchi, Lawrence, Frigerio, Clavel, D'Ascoli, Zucchetto.
Into the middle part of this race then. Oh, another change potentially for the race lead. Pelikanski taking another step up the order, back to the lead of this race. Pelikanski yet to win a race so far this week. Has always been in at least third. But Pelikanski now will try and stretch this out at the front of the field into the high-speed chicane once again. Grazelik has had moments so far this week. A P2 is his best result so far in the heats, as there's another move down the inside there. Great stuff once again from the 111 of Grazelik. So this is a good performance once again. Looks like Pelikanski is going to go for a return move down the inside, and look at this, here comes Noviello and Pellan. Pellan going through past Grazelik. Ava Lawrence is also on the scene in all of this, in 4th place now, but Noviello is your new race leader through towards turn 4 here on lap 5. We're into the second half of this one. Down the inside again goes Pelikanski. Pelikanski goes back into 2nd place through towards turn 6, 7, 8 and 9. It's a long wind up through the left-handers, down towards 10 and 11 once again. Noviello still has the lead of this race, ahead of Pelikanski. Further down the order, who's having a race that could see their ROK Cup Superfinal continue? D'Ascoli up 5 spots to 10th is a good drive forward. Looks like as well, having started 17th on the grid, Clement Paulet is also moving through, as there's another change for the lead. Pelikanski back into P1. Pelikanski delivering the business at the moment that would put him on the front row of the grid for later on this afternoon. Right now it would of course be Perico. Perico's got the pole position secured for later on today. Pelikanski alongside on the front row at the moment. It would be Nani and Spence on row 2, but back again comes Noviello. Noviello down the inside takes the position away from Pelikanski. This is classic mini rock racing here at Lonato. This is why it's always such a popular category, and offered a bit of a show stealer here on finals day. 6 drivers all in with a chance of winning this race. We're on lap number 6. Garslik going in again there. I think it's just taken third place away from Palin. And Ava Lawrence in this group as well. Ava Lawrence has taken a big step forward in terms of her performance over recent times. Another lap done then. 2 to go. Noviello leads from Pelikansky. Ava Lawrence now up to third place, flying the flag for the UAE. Pelan, Fruguero and Gartelik. So Gartelik's fallen down to 6th place now. Fruguero suddenly on the scene. There's another move the lead. Oh, Pelikansky got the braking wrong. Went down the inside. Nearly got it stuck. But this is what you started to see now with the circuit. More and more rubber going down. Off the racing line. Can be a little bit slippery. It's all gone wrong for Pelikansky. Down to 4th place now. 1.5 laps to turn in this pre-final, Daniele. What's got to say? It's been another entertaining one. Plenty of positions still to be sorted out. Trinaki up 3 places so far in this one. On to the last lap now. Noviello leads by 0.6 of a second now. Ava Lawrence into 2nd place. This would be a great result for Ava Lawrence. Would move her up the order in the intermediate standings. Warning flag is out for Ayrton John Tonner. And now, has there been a bit of confusion here? I think there has been a bit of confusion. The checkered flag, I think, was partially being shown there. The race is still going, and some drivers have come into the pits. Oh, Ava Lawrence has come into the pits. Pavan Clemens has come into the pits. But it's not over yet. The race is still going. I'm not quite sure what has happened here. Noviello is still leading this race. Well, this is drama again in Mini ROK, but in quite strange fashion. Checkered flag is now being waved. Noviello takes the checkered flag. Gartelik 2nd, Pelikansky 3rd. Frigerio in 4th, Clavel 5th, Pelin 6th. And what I think's happened here is the checkered flag was at least being prepared, and 3 drivers have thought it was being waved. In terms of on the timing, we were still at the end of lap number 7. And, well, that is a disaster for those drivers. I don't think it'll necessarily mean they're out of the competition, because, especially in Ava Lawrence's case, I think she was high up the order enough to not drop out the top 36. Well, again, that's a bit of a strange one, Daniele.
I didn't see that coming. That's for sure. And I'm questioning why there was no checkered flag. There was no other things that can say, okay, the race is over. So why you think of that? That's the problem. Yeah, why you? For sure, from our perspective, we saw what is happening, but why a mistake like this could happen? And I don't know if there's something that could be changed after the race.
There we go. Well, we'll move on from the minis. The minis will be back out later on from what will time it'll be? It'll be 1:45 due to go for the pre-grid, and then 1:50 for the final itself. It will be an entertaining race, very competitive race. It always is in Mini ROK. We change things up a bit now. We go over to Expert ROK. It's 18 drivers in total for this one, and all being well, they'll be out on circuit in a few moments' time. We'll just say with that mini result, that is provisional. That's a very provisional result, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll update you when the final result has come through. Expert, I like this category, Daniele. It is well supported every single year, and great again to have. You know, if we roll back 3 or 4 years ago, you had Expert and Expert Plus both on the same grid. Now there's so many of them. There's such a strong support that they run them on 2 separate grids. And as I say, 18 drivers going for the Expert title this year for drivers over the age of 32.
Yeah, it is, and like you said, it's always an interesting class, and it's an interesting race, because you have a lot of drivers that are they're even, let's say, from different worlds, not only from different part of the world, but from different worlds. So it's gonna be interesting. Vedremo una prefinale con la Expert Rock che sarà interessante, sarà sicuramente interessante perché vedi sempre un po' dei piloti che arrivano da mondi differenti oltre che da differenti parti del pianeta ed è sicuramente una cosa estremamente interessante che può cambiare la complessità delle cose. Di sicuro fino a questo momento abbiamo visto delle cose molto molto precise da parte delle indicazioni, ecco, diciamo così, che ci ha dato l'Expert Rock. We saw something in those Expert Rock hit during this week, and of course it's that Andrea Sorbello was one of the fastest, if not the fastest, pretty much always during the week, and Filippo Repetto is one of the drivers that can try to make the best of this pre-final and try to crack a little bit all the certainties that Andrea Sorbello has. Then it's Adrian Markincevic and Paolo Baselli on second row. Daniel Zayak and Michele Zampieri on the third row. Alessandro Vigano and Carlos Fonseca on fourth row. Marco Massironi and Gregor Purochot in fifth row. Then it's William Chow and Marco Nannavecchia on sixth row. Daniel Lavacek and Eitam Turkin. That's the seventh row. Andrew Valenzano and Christian Duschner in eighth row. Marcin Vnuk and Werasak Ayemi Wichan will be the last row of this Expert Rock starting grid.
10 laps then for these drivers to decide who's going to be on pole position for the final later on today. Heavy favourite, of course, will be Sorbello, unbeaten so far this week. But we have seen that over a single lap can be beaten. For example, Repetto was on pole position earlier on in the week. We are racing. Green lights. 10 laps underway then in Expert Rock. Fairly even start on the front row of the grid. Oh, and the drama. Off goes Sorbello. Off go two others as well. Well, that was a very strange start again through turns 2 and 3. Running through into turn 5 now. And apologies, no, it wasn't Sorbello. It was Repetto going and Marcinkiewicz going off the road. So apologies, there was a change of where the leader started. Sorbello had started from driver's right hand side, so Sorbello is fine, but it was Repetto who has not come through sector number 1. Repetto, who was third in Expert Plus last year, has not come through sector number 1. So another bit of drama. The first laps today so far, Daniele, have been very tricky to negotiate for those in the full-size karts categories. End of the first lap then. Sorbello, apologies, is still in the lead of this race. Vigano in second. Baselli, Zayak. Parachot's had a good start as well. I've been very impressed with Gregoire Parachot so far this week, Daniele. Had some tough times in the early stages, but has rebounded really well. Moved forward on the first lap once again. Is now into the top 5.
Yeah, that's what is going to happen, and that's what is something that it needs to be important for a lot of drivers right now after that start, and it's something that was kind of unpredictable to have Repetto out of this race at the very first corner.
Yeah, it's well, I say all of these drivers will go through to the final, of course. At the moment, Repetto has actually still got the position of second in the standings. Actually, no, that's a slight nuance with the timing tower. So he's not moved from 12 points on our timing tower if you're looking at the live timing, because he's not completed a full lap of the circuit. So once he puts 17 on, at the moment, I think it's going to drop Repetto down to 4th place. Still not a complete disaster. He can win races around this circuit from a good way down the grid. So the trouble is, though, Sorbello continued to look so calm at the wheel, so confident of his abilities, and as it should be. He's the Expert Rock champion in ROK Cup Italia this year. needs some race control. Item Turchin under investigation, the 716, seeing on our screens as well. Christian Dischner also under investigation, the German in the 701. Good start as well for Verasak Amrishan, the driver from Thailand. 7 places gained so far in this race. Another driver similar to Perisho who had some difficulties earlier on in the week, Daniele.
Yes, it is, and it's now maybe a different race from any other we saw this morning, because guys like Vigano, with that crash at the very first lap, with Repetto Marcinkiewicz out of the picture, it could be useful for Vigano. Try not to push that much, try to not force anything into trying to overtake Sorbello, because to have just 2 points penalty, it's good for his grid, and it could be interesting. 3 seconds penalty now handed out for the 2 drivers that were under investigation. Of course, it's Christian Dischner once again and ATM Turkin. If I'm not mistaken, they were one after another on the starting grid. So probably the mistake of one, it became the mistake of both of them. But anyway, 3-second penalty for both of them. They probably will end at the very end of it. Expert ROK dunque che prosegue dopo quell'incidente in prima curva che ha tirato fuori dalla questione Repetto e ha messo anche Marcinkiewicz praticamente all'ultimo posto in pista, cosa che sta aiutando e può aiutare altri piloti, a cominciare da Alessandro Vigano, che adesso naviga in seconda posizione e cambia un po', no, la questione, perché può sicuramente provare a prendere Sorbello, può essere una cosa mentale, un segnale da mandare, però intanto andrà a raccogliere pochissimi punti di penalità che possono aiutarlo a migliorare la griglia di partenza, perché siamo tornati in una questione qui con la Expert ROK e a breve con la Expert Plus, in cui sostanzialmente c'è una situazione in cui nessuno verrà eliminato, ma serve e come fare meno punti possibili per partire più avanti nella finale. Quindi può essere interessante per Vigano. Di sicuro è che Sorbello continua a guidare la corsa davanti a Vigano e Baselli, poi Zajak, Zampieri e Perosciò. Per ora tutti abbastanza distanti l'uno dall'altro, o meglio abbastanza distanti da non avere sottotiro quello che li precede, da non essere sottotiro rispetto a quello che li segue, eccezione fatta per il sorpasso che abbiamo visto poc'anzi da parte di Fonseca e da di Perosciò. Zampieri, Fonseca e Perosciò sono il primo terzetto veramente veramente vicino tra l'uno e l'altro, tra la quinta e la settima posizione. Adesso però si sta avvicinando Zajak a Basel per provare a interrompere la sfilza di 3 italiani in cima alla categoria, e bisognerà anche provare a capire se qualcosa cambierà in questo finale dal punto di vista del passo gara, o se ci avviamo a un finale abbastanza plafonato su questi ritmi. With a few of the top drivers out of the picture, and with that it could be an interesting situation for guys like Vigano and Zajak, even without aiming to the top spot. It could be that the race will end pretty much like this.
But it could be the kind of thing that gets them a bit of momentum going ahead of the final later on this afternoon. As things stand, I think we know he's going to be on pole position for the final later on today. Sorbello's got a 23-point lead over everybody else. Baselli, Marcinkiewicz, Zajak, Repetto is your top 5. But it's still really close. That kind of run from Marcinkiewicz down to Vigano, 3 points, covering 3rd down to 7th as things stand. So 2 more laps to go. Sorbello out for a nice Saturday morning drive, or just into the afternoon now here in northern Italy. Vigano in 2nd place has just set a personal best. Masseroni's got some pace at the latter stage of this race as well. Daniele in the 718 has just gone and set a 49.232. So keep an eye out on the 718, potentially looking to move up from 7th place late on in this race. And this is the battle that we were talking about, just coming through the long left-handers. But it's been another very straightforward drive, I'd say, for Sorbello, and also having a little bit of a play through electing to start on the opposite side. That could be a good piece of information that makes him decide where he wants to start for the final. He has the right to go back and forth, either start on the left or the right. Just keeping it up to date on some of the changes in this one. Dishner and Neymar-Chan 14th and 15th now. Turchin still down in 16th once that 3-second penalty has been applied. Last lap though, and Andrea Sobello on for what will be win number 5 of the weekend so far, Daniele.
Out of 5 match, so pretty much it's easy to target himself as the guy to beat this afternoon on the final, to see if anyone can strip Sorbello of what it looks like an easy win tomorrow on this afternoon. Of course, it's an easy win for him this morning. His expert ROK pre-final over Vigano and Zajac at the end of the day, ending up in P3. Then it's Paselli P4. He will start second this afternoon on the first row alongside with Sorbello. Then it's Zampieri, Massironi, Fonseca, Perrochot, Dannavecchia, Lavacek rounding up the top 10. Then it's Marcinkiewicz. He was able to recover just at P11. P12 for Xiao, Valenzano, and then it's, of course, Dishner and Etiam Turkin with a 3 seconds penalty each. Are the last 2 drivers at the checkered flag. That's it for the Expert ROK, and we will move to Expert Plus.
The Expert ROK final will be 3:35 due to go for their pre-grid, and 3:40 for the race itself. Those are provisional times, of course, because we have had some delays this morning from the earlier races. So if we get a new timetable, we will let you know as soon as we get it, what those, if there are going to be any changes, what they would be. I think in either terms might be quite short a lunch break here for us today, so just so everyone's aware on that one. Expert Plus, as Daniele says, will be next, and in fact they're rolling out onto track now, so we are ready to get going with the formation laps for Expert Plus. 11 drivers in the field this year for Expert Plus, and the story so far has been the return of the master in terms of race performances. Tino Donadei, who last won this title in 2022, that was back-to-back titles as well, 2021 and 2022, has dominated things so far this weekend, has won every single race, has pole position for this one, of course. Will start alongside Cristiano Mantovani. Mantovani was in the top 5 in the final last year, and has been stepping forward and has had results of 5th, 3rd, 2nd and 2nd so far this week. So that is a good indication that Mantovani is here to win things today. If that run continues of him going forward, the only place more than he can gain, of course, is P1. Marco Beretta will start 3rd on the grid for this one. He's joined by Andre Cortado on that front second row of the grid, I should say. Gianluca Todeschini, the oldest driver in the field, 62 years of age, will start on row 3 and is joined by Hong Kong's Francis Yikas-Chun. Xiaogang Gu starts on row 4, is joined by Paolo Zotta, who had a very quick start to the race week, was on pole position through the timed qualifying session on Wednesday, 2nd in the first race, hasn't really hit his stride since. Will this be a chance for Paolo Zotta to turn things around? Zotta 2nd in this category last year, of course. Stelios Kythiotis from Cyprus starts on row 5. He's joined by Gianluca Rubiolini. Rubiolini back for another run for the Raptor team. And then Mark Pavan will complete the grid. Mark had a bit of a scary off in the first round of heats back on Thursday, but has been steadily working back towards the front in terms of pace. Obviously he's had those setbacks. Should be good fun to watch from 11th on the grid, if we have got Mark Pavan, in fact, because I'm not seeing Mark Pavan checking up on timing, unfortunately. Right, away we go then. Green light for the drivers here in Expert Plus, running towards the first couple of corners. Looks like Tino Donadei has been able to hold on to the race lead. He's running a different coloured suit to previous years. Normally he's in the yellow and black. The kart itself still has a good amount of yellow and black paint and sticker kit on it, but new suit for Tino Donadei, and they always say with a new piece of kit, got to be worth at least a couple of tenths. Tino Donadei has the early lead of this race and could be in a commanding position straight away to take pole position for the final. Similar to what we were talking about with Sabello in the previous race, Tino Donadei doesn't need to win this race. In fact, he just needs to finish it to score the necessary points to take pole position for the final. To end of the first lap, Donadei leads by just over 3/4 of a second. Cotardo up 2 spots to second. Mantovani and Beretta third and fourth. Good start as well for Yikachun, up to 5th place. Paolo Zotta up to 6th. This is more like it from Paolo Zotta. Saying that though, Zotta gets out wide, kicks up the dirt, and has a big moment there. Cristiano Mantovani is under investigation now. This early in the race, normally that would be some form of start infringement that perhaps the race officials are looking at, but we'll update you as and when we've got more news on that investigation. At the moment, it's just that the officials are looking at something for the driver of the 755. End of lap 2. Donadei holding at the moment at 3/4 of a second, so Cotardo matching the race pace of the leader. Mantovani still there in 3rd place. No other changes in the order. Just to confirm, I don't think we've got Mark Pavan out on circuit. So 10 runners for us in this one. Where are we going to see the first big move come in this one? Tino Donadei will start to wind things up, I'm sure, just to give himself a bit of relief from the pressure. There is a notice board coming out, I can see, which I would assume is going to be for the 755. Could it be a 3-second penalty for the 755? We'll see in a moment. At the moment, the back of the board is to us here in the box. Yes, it is a 3-second penalty for Mantovani, which at the moment would drop the Brazilian all the way down to 10th place. So that's not continuing the trend that we've seen for Mantovani so far this week of improving the results. Right now, Mantovani's got a bit of a job on just to even stay in the top 5. Change for 5th place on the road. Zotta has got through past Yikachun, so that's just at the back of this group. Cotardo and Mantovani 2nd and 3rd on the road. I think this race may be done for Tino Donadei in terms of hard work. He's now got 8 tenths to his advantage over everybody else. Cotardo's pace, though, is still good, more than good enough to... Zotta has a look down the inside on Beretta. That's a brave move from Paolo Zotta. This is much more like it. Paolo Zotta, who was kind of missing in action yesterday, not quite himself, seems to have refound the speed that took him to a timed qualifying pole position award back on Wednesday evening. And with Mantovani's penalty, at the moment, Zotta on for P3 in this race, which would also move him up the grid for the final. Donadei, of course, still leading the intermediate points, the penalty points, by 17 now ahead of Mantovani. Beretta, Cotardo, that would be your second row. Todeschini, Zotta would now be row number 3. But plenty could change between now and the end of the race. That's half of the laps completed for Tino Donadei. A new fastest lap of the race for the former Expert Plus champion, looking to reclaim that title for the first time in 3 ROK Cup Superfinals. The advantage now 1.6 seconds ahead of Cotardo. Mantovani's still there 3rd on the road. At the moment, the 3-second penalty would drop him down to 8th, just ahead of Gu and Rubiolini. Todeschini starting to join the party. Todeschini has just gone purple through sector number 1 in the 7.65. Had some difficulties earlier on through the qualifying heats. As Zotta down the inside. Zotta looking to take 3rd place on the road. Well, for the neutrals, this is good news, because it seems like Paolo Zotta, who at the start of the week was the only driver who could take things to Tino Donadei. The race pace is now back with the driver of the 753. And yes, he's not on Donadei's tail at this very moment, but he's continuing to move himself up the order in both this race and those intermediate scores which set the grid for the final. through the second sector again. Cotardo's still doing a good job here at the front of this pack. There is Zotter in the blue helmet. Looks to have good entry speed into the corners. It's good on the brakes. Nice and steady, able to take a tighter line there than Cotardo, and is now trying to get Cotardo off the racing line. Zotter's got through. Zotter's through into second place then. That's 6 places gained now for the Italian. Don't think he's going to have enough laps here, or enough of delta speed over Donadei to change what is now a 2.8 second lead, as Mantovani having a bit of back and forth with Beretta and Todeschini involved in there as well. Just to mention, Kytriotis up a couple of positions in this race. Some good moves from the Cypriot. New personal best last time around in this pre-final of 50.082. We're on lap 8 of 10 for the Experts Plus category. Tino Donadei is still, of course, your race leader. Goes by the start line to get another lap going. Fastest lap of the race has just gone in from Paolo Zotta, though. So whilst I don't think this is going to change things, of course, in this pre-final, these could be very telling laps for what we're going to be talking about in the final later on today. Right now, Zotter is the fastest driver on circuit, as down the inside there, Mantovani looking for a move on Cotardo. This is for third place on the road, but Mantovani needs to get up the road to negate the effects of that 3-second penalty. He's not able to do so. Cotardo still holding there, and here comes Beretta as well. Nice move there from the Italian. And Todeschini also going in. Oh, didn't quite get that move done, did Todeschini. This is what we love about this Expert Plus category. These drivers love their racing. 4 wide over the start line. Fantastic stuff from our most experienced set of drivers. They're able to do that time and time and time again. We're on to the last lap of this one. Tino Donadei has surely got this race won. 2.4 seconds, but those lap times from Zotter that are going in right now will be catching the attention, I'm sure, of the team behind Tino Donadei before they get ready for the final. They haven't got this competition won yet. Kytriotis has come through this pack that we've been watching as we turn our eyes to Tino Donadei. Donadei will have pole position for the final then. A very good performance from the veteran. He's 1 race away from reclaiming his Expert Plus ROK Superfinal champion position. And it's in the end a win by 2.3 seconds over Paolo Zotta. Todeschini comes through to finish 3rd with a flying flourish right at the end there. Fastest lap of the race. Kytriotis up 5 spots as well to P4. Beretta, Yikachun, Gu, Mantovani and Cotardo must have had problems here on the last lap. I don't think Cotardo has come through on the last lap. He's not showing through the last lap on timing. So that's a real shame for Cotardo, falling down from what was 3rd place all the way down to P10. So, yeah, Yikachun's 6th, Gu's 7th, Mantovani with the 3-second penalty applied is 8th, Rubiolini 9th, and then Cotardo did not see the checkered flag finishes. Was classified P10. And Mark Pavan did not take the start of the race. But there is your winner, Tino Donadei, kart 761. That is now the 5th win in a row for Tino. And a repeat performance will see him win the final later on today. But there are changes in the order behind for the grid. So Donadei and Mantovani will be row 1. Beretta and Todeschini row 2. So Todeschini's moved up the order through that phase. And Zotter now P5. Zotter could be a threat based on what we saw in the second half of that race. If Zotter can have a good start and clear through some of the traffic, Zotter could still be Donadei's closest challenger when we get to the final later on today. Cotardo at the moment will start P6. These are, of course, provisional results. Yikachun and Gu set to go from row number 4. I think it will be Rubiolini and Kytriotis. Yes, it will be Kytriotis and Rubiolini starting on row 5 by process of elimination, and we will see that final later on today, due to go off at 3:10 local time, of course, for Expert Rock. Right, we turn our attention now back to categories that require 2 pre-finals to get us down to 36 drivers qualifying for the final. Senior Rock up next. Very close competition so far as the drivers start their formation laps. Let's take you through the runners in this one. 30 drivers out on circuit, so they've all made it through to this stage. But who's heading home after this pre-final? Giuseppe Galliano will not be one of the drivers heading home. He has pole position and a good gap to those at the cut-off. He will be focusing on trying to win this race and secure pole position for the final. Alongside him on the front row is his Zanchi Motorsport teammate Andrea Barbieri. It's a front 2 rows lockout in this particular pre-final for the Zanchi Motorsport team, because they have Riccardo Salemi and Stephen Miller on row number 2. Ivo Basteda starts on the inside row, on inside column for the first time this week. He's had some problems with the starts because he's always been starting P2 in the heats. So he starts grid 5 for this one. Could be a driver to look out for the AMO Racing team. He's joined on the 3rd row of the grid by Antu Rangetti. Row 4, Oscar Hildebrandski and Franciszek Jagielski have good chances here to move forward. Luca Pirelli and Giovanni Palato start on row number 5. Mattia Derma and Joseph Lowney go from row 6. Christos Hartsis starts on row 7. He's joined by Marcin Dacucci, Francesco Cocci and Oscar Kimiel go from row 8. It's then Ludovico Micheli and Dimir Goksan on row 9. Xavier Suarez and Anthony Makuch, those are the first 2 drivers who need to move forward to improve their points position from overnight, otherwise they are going home. They're on row 10. Timothy Funier and Warapong Aimlichan go from row 11. It's then Eva Banak and Marek Her on row 12. Maciej Prochatska and Miklas Evangelou on row 13. Nicholas Eugenin and Philip Moore on 14. Bartos and Rodriguez go from row 15. That is a false start. We will go round again for an extra formation lap. So, to say, just under half the field are going to be leaving us here. Total of about, was it 60? Yeah, 60 drivers in Senior Rock for 2025. And for Zanchi Motorsport, looking to continue their run of being the winning team in this competition. Danny Caronini was your Senior Rock champion last year. Danny not racing in the Rock categories in 2025. His racing laps, his racing days, I should say, have been in other categories, but he is here this weekend. I had a quick little chat to him yesterday. He was in good spirits, and I'm sure the Zanchi Motorsport team will be cheering on their drivers here. This is a big opportunity for them to secure some strong influencers at the front of the grid for the final later on today. At the second time of asking, we are racing in Senior Rock. 10 laps underway then. Galliano gets a good start. Are they all going to be able to run through the first few corners clean? Or not quite. There's one driver in the second half of the field who takes a bit of a unscheduled joker lap through the dirt there, but doesn't spin, gets back on circuit, continues on. He's been a good start for Rangetti. Rangetti had a good start yesterday as well in the final round of heats. Now faded in the second half of the race, so I'll be looking to fix that. It's Ivo Basteda as well who's had a good start. Ivo Basteda, there's an incident through the chicane. I think the 439 may have been involved there, or the 438. We'll confirm that in a moment. Micheli and Goksan, it's the 436 who is in trouble. So there is the scene out of the final chicane. Galliano leads this race from Basteda. Basteda really quick. Now this is what we were talking about. So far this week, Basteda, because he was in a particular group, he was in Group E off the back of time qualifying. It's meant he's had to start every single race so far until this one, P2. He's always gone backwards in the early stages because it's such a difficult place to start in round Lonato. When we've got to lap 3, 4 and onwards, Basteda has started to shine. This time around, because he's started on the inside column, he's got that good run through the first couple of corners. He's not gone backwards. Yes, he's not leading this race, but keep an eye on the Polish driver there in the 429. this could be a turning point in this year's Senior ROK competition. End of lap number 2 then. Galliano's lead is just under 0.8 of a second. That was a new fastest lap of the race, of course, from the race leader, 49.559. These early laps could be really, really important for Galliano to extend that advantage out ahead of Bestede. Warning flag is out for Stephen Miller. Miller is back up to 4th place in this one. That was a change on that last lap of this pre-final. Remember, this is the first of 2 pre-finals in Senior ROK. Who has had the kind of starts that could be indicating that they could save their competition? I think we're going to go down to 18th place because Maciej Prochaska for the Citrus team is up 7 places to P18 now. Maciej's going to need more than that to wrestle his way through from around 50th at the moment in the intermediate scores up to 36th, but that's a good start for the driver from Czechia. He's going to need to continue that kind of progress. So Galliano continues to lead this race, is extending the gap. These are important laps for Galliano. 1.1 seconds clear now of Bestede, and in fact it's Riccardo Salemi who I think is going to be going on the attack in the next few moments. Salemi is closing in on the Polish driver. Miller not too far behind as well. Pirelli is up 4 spots also into 5th place. Just see Pirelli at the back of shot there, and then a move for 6th as well. We'll catch up with that one in a moment. That was Barbieri going through past Hildebrandski for 6th place. Sajelski 8th, Rangetti and Derma 9th and 10th. Hartsis and Kimiel both moving through the order as well. They were inside the top 36 overnight. These kind of runs, they are further cementing their positions later on this afternoon in the final. Lap 5, pretty much at the halfway stage of this race. This is the battle for second place on your screens. Bestede at the moment unable to respond to the pace from Galliano. Salemi still there in 3rd place with Miller not too far behind as well. Pirelli 5th, and I tell you what, Barbieri's got good pace as well. Barbieri, now unleashed, was stuck behind Hildebrandski 1 lap ago, has just gone and set a 48.204. Wow! We need to keep an eye then on the driver in the 440 because that is stunning pace at this stage of the race from Barbieri. Half a second quicker than Pirelli. Good 0.3 or so quicker than these 3 drivers on screen. So as we get into the second half of this one, Barbieri started on the front row of the grid, of course, could be a threat. Salemi looking to get past Bestede. Bestede really under pressure now. We're not quite seeing the same turn of pace at this point of the race. All of the heats so far have also been 10 laps long. This has generally been the point by which we start to see Bestede improving those lap times and normally having to come back through the field. That's not the case here in this one in 2 regards. 1, it's not having to come through the field, and 2, it's not quite got the pace of the leaders right now. Barbieri is through into 5th place ahead of Pirelli as well, so keep an eye just in the background. The 440 is going to be closing in on these 3, especially if they start fighting. Another purple first sector from Barbieri. As further down the order, just looking at Prochaska's got another position with Banak. Fournier has been disposed of in the battle for 17th place. I still think Prochaska's going to need more positions than that to get through. Another driver who is going through, it's down the inside. Salemi goes for 2nd place. Bestede cuts back through turn 13. Well read there by Bestede. Big attack came in from Salemi, but that's what we mean about these final 3 hairpins at Lonato. You can attack, you can counter-attack. It produces really, really good racing. But that back and forth is great news if you're Barbieri. Barbieri took another 0.4 out of these 3 drivers on that last lap. If they're not careful, the Italian is going to be on the scene very, very quickly indeed. We're on lap number 8. We've got probably 2.5 laps. Yeah, 2.5 laps to go in this one. Salemi looks miles quicker than Bestede right now, but can't do anything about getting through because Bestede is really good off of turn 11. That if there is anywhere that Bestede has got some good pace, it's off of turn 11. It means he cannot be attacked into the first of these 3 hairpins. and his reading of the road is pretty good, as we saw last time around, so that if Salemi goes for attack through the second hairpin, Besteda knows how to get him back before the third one. Lap 9 then, Barbieri takes another 4/10 out. I just wonder, is the gap a bit too big for Barbieri to completely close in and become part of this group? He's going to need a mega penultimate lap of this race to stand a chance of gaining some positions on the last tour of the circuit. There's Galliano in a really good position here. This will confirm him as pole sitter for the final later on this afternoon. As down the inside, Miller's gone in. Miller goes through past Salemi for third place. Barbieri has now caught the back of this group. Last lap board is out. Away we go then for the 10th tour of this Lonato circuit in this pre-final. Galliano's got this race won. No need to worry about Galliano at the front of the field. It's 2.6 seconds clear of the rest of them. But who is going to come home in second place? Besteda has held this position since the start of the race. Miller now in third. Salemi fourth. And Barbieri, who's had stunning pace since about lap 4, lap 5, still has a chance here of gaining some positions on the last lap. But teammates, of course, they don't want to be causing any fractions in the Zanchi Motorsport awning before the final. Meanwhile, elsewhere in that same team, Galliano is going to take another race victory here and really assert himself at the top of the leaderboard. This could be the first time we're talking about Galliano clear of the rest. It's close over the line for fourth place, but Galliano takes the win by 2.8 seconds ahead of Besteda. Miller third, Salemi fourth, Barbieri with a great drive there in fifth. That could be good for the final, though, for Barbieri, that he's got that pace later on in the races. At the moment, holds second in the standings for all of the penalty points and intermediate points. We'll see how the second Super pre-final goes. But yeah, Barbieri again could be one to watch when we get to the final later on this afternoon. Pirelli P6, Hildebrandski, Sajelski, Rangetti and Hartsis in the top 10. Good drive there from Christos Hartsis. That will be the driver for Greece through into the final. Just needed a little move forward just to calm the nerves, and that's exactly what Hartsis did. Launi in 11th, Derma, Kimiel, Pilato and Suarez. I think Suarez will be through as well. Only needed a few positions just to turn things over and get in the top 36. Suarez got 4 positions, so that's good work from the driver from Chile for the ROK Cup USA team. Kochi in 16th. Prochaska, I don't think that'll be enough. He had a really good start, gained 8 in the end in that one, but I think he probably needed more like 10 or 11 positions to turn the deficit over, but good effort nonetheless from the driver from Czechia. Banak as well, up 5. I don't think that's going to quite be enough. I hope I'm wrong, of course, but 18th in that one for the pole. Matkuch, Dokuchki, all in the top 20. Fournier, Yuzhinin were into the drivers. I think that's them done for this year. They're 21st and 22nd. Her, Evangelou, Moore, Bartosz, Amachan and Rodriguez. All finishers, 28 of them. 2 drivers who didn't see the end, Michelli and Goxan. So, that's the first pre-final done. Galliano will get ready for the final later on today. But the question is, Daniele, who will be alongside him on the front row? Andrea Giudice, very good performances so far this week, but there's a number in the field for pre-final B who could take this. Vashni's had some good performances so far this week, starts alongside on the front row. Di Filippo is a driver I'm very much expecting to be a big part of the running here today. Was third here in this race last year, and with the reigning champion and the runner-up not racing, you could say Samuele Di Filippo is the highest ranked driver based off last year's results in a way. So he starts third. You've also got the likes of Davide Lombardo, had a good run yesterday. Marlon De Salvo was a lot of experience in this race. Marcel Kapritsky as well. There's a lot to be decided here in this second pre-final.
And we are already rolling out of the pre-grid, so we will have that answer very, very shortly in this pre-final B for the Senior ROK. Another 10 laps, of course, for them. And like Andrew said, Andrea Giudice is going to start on pole position with Colin Wasney in the second row, in the first row alongside with him. Then second row with Samuele Di Filippo and Christian Romeo. Third row with Davide Lombardo and Nick Skulak. And it's a fourth row with Ryan Sai and Marcel Kaspritsky. Fifth row with Marlon Di Salvo and Hei Long Mixilanga. Sixth row with Sixuan Tanga and Alberto Bernardi. Seventh row with Vaclav Prochaska and Marek Lipkowski. Eighth row with Muhammad Hartis and Kania Mikolai. Then it's Anthony Leonard and Jiri Nemecek. Evis Luka and Adam Roschel. Mikhail Shizjevich and Max Amon. Zhao Zilin and Fabian Boeffel. Jakub Kazana, Karen Kaur. Diogo Pajaro Mazon, Omar Locarini, Yanis Mateas, and Athanasia Simara. That's it for the starting grid of the Senior ROK in this second pre-final that will give us which drivers are going to advance to the final overall and which drivers are going to be eliminated in this one. And of course, we will have the last pre-final with the Shifter ROK. After that, we'll focus on this. Andrea Giudice and Colin Wazzi leading the field. Not good to go at the first attempt, another extra formation lap, altro giro di formazione extra allora per la Senior ROK, che in questo momento vede Gagliano al comando della classifica generale, diciamo, nella classifica dei punti penalità, con appena 2 punti raccolti, con Barbieri, Salemi, Mille, Besserda, Ranghetti, Ildebranschi e Perelli dietro, quindi insomma sarà una situazione, quella della prefinale B della Senior ROK che stiamo per vedere, che andrà poi a ridisegnare definitivamente in maniera completa anche quanto abbiamo visto nella manche appena conclusa, nella prefinale A. E di sicuro qua c'è da cercare spazio, a cominciare da Andrea Giudice e Colin Wasney, che partiranno Giudice e Wasney partiranno dalla primissima fila, a seguire Di Filippo Romeo. Tanti piloti che si sono dimostrati piuttosto veloci anche in questo secondo schieramento della Senior ROK. Vedremo cosa succederà. Let's see what happened with the Senior ROK pre-final B. Let's see if this time we are ready to go with a 10 laps pre-final. Green lights, and we are good to go with a great start for Giudice and Di Filippo and Lombardo, that elbows out his third position against Colin Wasney. A little bit wide for someone down in turn 2 and turn 3, but everything else went pretty much good. Down in turn 5 now is Giudice leading the race with that great start from the top spot on the grid. And he was not lazy on that, and he's trying already to work things out for him in this one. Was not that lucky every single time, and was not able to do what he wanted every single time we saw qualifying heats during the week. But this time Giudice wants to win. Giudice, Di Filippo, Wasney taking back the P3 over Romeo, Lombardo, Skulak, Bernardi, Kaspritsky, Di Salvo and Tank. That's the top 10 for now. And a lot of drivers are going to try to jump shot every single car they had in sight to gain as much as possible in this one, like Pajaro, that is already 11th position up on the field. He started 27th, is in 16th. That's a good start for the Brazilian driver, that's for sure. Giudice is trying to create some gap at the very first part of this race. Half of a second advantage over Di Filippo and Wasney. They are pretty much together Then it's Romeo, Lombardo, Skulak and Bernardi. Following them a little bit far. That's of course the first part of the race. That's nothing said. Warning flag to 6-1 Tanga. And now Giudice, it seems like he's improving, but a lot of there's a few drivers in that group, Skulak, Bernardi, they are very, very fast, and they were faster the lap before. Di Filippo and Wozni. Seems like the fighters start. Giudice now leading over Wozni and Di Filippo, the Polish driver. Pull out and overtake Di Filippo, taking the second spot. And now aiming to rejoin Giudice. Let's see if he has the pace. He was 1/10 of a second faster in the last lap, even if it is the lap where he overtook Di Filippo. He has to chop it down 6, or I should say 7/10 of a second away from Giudice. But if I look at it outside of the box, I'd say he's starting, and yes, he is. 48.9 by Giudice, 48.7 by Wozni, 48.9 by Di Filippo. Colin Wozni, man on a mission right now to try to get Andrea Giudice. Meanwhile, there's a Teoslin. The communication is under investigation. Let's see if Wozni is getting closer, but if you ask me, and not the clock, he's getting closer. Last corner for the top 3 drivers, Giudice, Wozni and Di Filippo, and once again, Wozni is getting closer to Giudice, 1/10 of a second faster than the leader, both him and Di Filippo. Meanwhile, it's a 5 seconds penalty for Zauselin. Wow, that's the heaviest penalty we've seen this far in this ROK Cup Superfinal for the whole week. That's something. That's something. Meanwhile, I wanna watch to what happening right behind the top 3 driver, Romeo, Lombardo, and Skulak. I'll not get any closer because they are a little bit slower than Giudice, Wozni, and Di Filippo. They could be very soon fighting for the spot. Oh, Giudice answer it back. 48.4, the fastest lap on this race by Giudice. Wozni 48.5, Di Filippo 48.6. There was a hell of an answer by Giudice that is not willing at all to leave Wozni with an easy task on his hand. E allora, grande risposta di Giudice, che dopo la mini fuga iniziale ha visto Colin Wozni avvicinarsi in questo frangente, salvo poi rispondere 48,4 nell'ultima tornata, andando a riprendersi un decimo, a riportare verso il mezzo secondo i 4 decimi e mezzo il vantaggio nei confronti del polacco, che lo insegue con Di Filippo a corto raggio, e stavolta è proprio Samuele Di Filippo il più veloce dei 3, 48,4, fotocopia di Giudice e Wozni, 48,3, mezzo decimo più basso il tempo di Samuele Di Filippo, che va ad accorciare leggermente su Wozni, il terzetto di testa che si sta giocando le posizioni nobili di questa prefinale, con Lombardo, Skulak, Bernardi che inseguono a 1,5 secondi. Potrebbero in realtà presto essere loro in lotta tra di loro, con il kart 4-4-6 di Lombardo sempre più avvicinato da Skulak, e quello di Bernardi che ormai si trova con Romeo alle calcagna. Questa è la situazione in pista quando stiamo per transitare sul traguardo per il completamento dell'8° giro sui 10 previsti in questa prefinale della Senior ROK, che con quella precedente andrà a comporre il quadro definitivo. 48,3, 48,313 da parte di Andrea Giudice, ancora il più veloce in pista. 48,3 48-4 praticamente, 48-3 altissimo per Wasni e Di Filippo, altro decimo rimesso fra sé gli inseguitori da parte del pilota della Marra 61 Kart Racing Team, che prova a farsi valere sul passo. Warning flag all'indirizzo di Marek Lipowski con questo finale che, se non si inventano, ed è difficile a questi ritmi oltretutto a guardare il cronometro a inventarsi qualcosa, ma se non si inventano qualcosa Wasni e Di Filippo, l'impressione è che il giudice rischi di iniziare questo ultimo giro comprendendo di essere tutto sommato difficile, se non impossibile da prendere, ancora più veloci tutti e tre. 48-281 il nuovo record fatto siglare dal giudice, 48-299, appena più lento Wasni per una manciata di millesimi, ma tanto basta al giudice per avere la tranquillità. Si muovono dietro con Skulak che va ad aggredire Lombardo per il possesso della quarta posizione. E allora, mentre lì davanti tutto sembra ristagnare, adesso c'è un differente ordine con Lombardo, Skulak e Bernardi che adesso si giocano la quarta posizione. Bisogna difendersi fino alla fine, mentre la bandiera a scacchi è là per Andrea Giudice, che conquista la vittoria in questa prefinale davanti a Wasni e Di Filippo. E poi alla fine è in volata Lombardo su Skulak e Bernardi, che arriva affiancato il più possibile allo sloveno, ma non riesce a sopravanzarlo. Romeo, Lipkowski, Tanga e Kaspritsky a chiudere la top 10. It's Giudice winning this for the Senior ROK Pre-Final B. And as we were saying, Giudice made the best with 0 points in this one, but was not enough to take the pole position away from Galliano. That will be the pole sitter for the Senior ROK Final this afternoon. Giudice will start alongside with him on the first row. Then it will be Barbieri and Wasni in the second row, Salemi and Di Filippo in the third. Of course, we will wait for all the official results. That's just provisionary for what we saw on track. And on track was Giudice winning over Wasni and Di Filippo in this one. With a very intelligent and a very good pace race, Giudice taking the victory. Lombardo ending up in fourth over Skulak, Bernardi, Romeo and Lipkowski, with Tank, Kaspritsky for the top 10. Then it's Di Salvo, Prochaska, Leonard, Mikolai, Luka, Nemecek, Buff, Sai, Rochel, Amon, then Shizjevich, Lokarni, Kazana, Hartis, Mixi, Langa, Zelin, Paggiaro, Mazzoni and Corey. That's it for the Senior ROK that we are seeing on our screen. Going towards the weight control. But that's it for Senior ROK, and we will have the starting grid for the final. It's gonna be the last one of the pre-final of the morning, of course. With a shifter ROK on track in a few moments. Back on what we were saying for the expert or the expert plus or the super ROK back at the very beginning of the morning, is there's not gonna be anyone that will be eliminated from the final. Will be a super hit for this pre-final for the shifter ROK. Pretty much a lot of points on the line. That will be capital for a lot of drivers to try to take the best spot for the start of the final. But that's it for this pre-final. All of the 19 drivers will be there for the awarding race of this afternoon, the shifter ROK. Senior ROK, meanwhile, it will be around 4 o'clock on track for the final this afternoon. Then it will be the shifter ROK. We will see. We will start on pole. It will start on pole. And we already have an answer to that question for this pre-final and for pretty much the final. If he keeps winning like he did the whole week long. We're talking about Karol Paziewicz, fastest on the qualifying practice, fastest on every single manche we did in the last few days. He is still undefeated in this shifter ROK class. For this ROK Cup Superfinal, he will be start on pole position with Roberto Manducchi on the second spot of the grid. Second row for Brando Pozzi and Sebastian Janczewski. Then it's Marco Chiarello and Matteo Moni in the third row. Nicola Rossini and Davide Cominazzini for the fourth row. Manuel Daziano and Santiago Aguilar from Colombia. They're going to start from the fifth row. Of course, another Polish driver with Timoteusz Ksiądz that will start from the 11th spot on the grid on the sixth row with Boris Kutaja. Senna Ito and Riccardo Franciosi on the seventh row. Hiromitsu Shima from Japan and Geronimo Gomez on the eighth row. Then it's the other Japanese driver for this shifter ROK category in Sena Sakai. They will start with on the ninth row with Valentino Rossi, and I am sad to announce to you that it's not that Valentino Rossi. And then it's Tazio Otis alone in the 10th and final row of our grid. And of course this will be also the first time today, except for what happened with the restart of the Super ROK, but it's pretty much not the same. That we will see a standing start for the shifter ROK.
Sarà una gara interessante quella della shifter ROK, con i piloti che si apprestano ad andare a occupare le caselle sulla griglia di partenza. Con Karol Pasiewicz che andrà ad occupare la pole position. Al suo fianco si schiererà Roberto Manducchi, poi Brando Pozzi e Sebastian Janczewski in seconda fila, con Marco Chiarello e Matteo Moni in terza fila. Nicola Rossini e Davide Cominazzini in quarta. Insomma, sarà una partenza ovviamente schierata. Pian piano si sta componendo la griglia con l'arrivo di tutti i kart. Molti piloti interessanti, tutti per ora hanno lo stesso obiettivo, non solo la vittoria di questa prefinale e ovviamente del trofeo di questa ROK Cup Superfinal 2025. L'obiettivo è provare a vedere se si può effettivamente battere in questa prefinale Karol Pasiewicz, attualmente a 0 punti nella classifica delle manche raccolta fino a questo momento. Buona la partenza, ed è ottima la partenza di Pasiewicz, non si può dire altrettanto di quella di Manducchi. Great start for Karol Pasiewicz, and it was not a good start for Roberto Manducchi from the second spot. It was not that quick out of the gate, and now he is in trouble because he's in P5 and he was attacked outside from that P5 from Chiarello. A little bit of problem for a few cars in the very first moments, and I say that Cominazzini is an issue, technical issue, let's say, because he was driving right straight on the pit lane. That's a pity, not a single lap completed, but that's it for Cominazzini's race. Pasiewicz leading, as we were saying, over Brando Pozzi and Marco Chiarello. It was not a launch start, but we saw what we saw in any other starts during the whole week, because Pozzi and Chiarello were able to be quick on the pedal, and full throttle down they went down, following Pasiewicz, now leading the race. It's more of a Brando Pozzi thing, because it's very, very close to Pasiewicz, half of a second away, the timing said. And Chiarello is a little bit farther with Manducchi, Janczewski, Rossini and Daziano that are not that far from him. Ooh, and they're fighting, of course, with a fight between Rossini and Daziano. Aguilar is there too. the Colombian drivers. So Janczewski, Rossini, Manducci, and Daziano that is trying to overtake Manducci too. Maybe Manducci is not only in trouble for his start, but maybe he's a little bit in trouble, in a little bit of difficulties on a pacemaker. Not something that seems to concern Pasiewicz. Is starting to increase his gap over Brando Pozzi in second place. Chiarello was a little bit slower the last lap, and to be honest, Janczewski and Rossini seems like they have what it takes to get on Chiarello, because they're getting closer and closer. Manzucchi, Daziano, Aguilar, Kutaya, Ito, and Xidas in 11th position, overtaking Gomez right now. A great start from Valentino Rossi too. The Swiss man is up 5 positions. He needs to take everything he can after 2 days that were pretty much a roller coaster to him. 3 giri andati agli archivi, ormai quasi 4, mentre Pasiewicz si stava cercando di scrollare un po' di dosso Brando Pozzi, che è finito a 8 decimi di distanza nell'ultima tornata, però Pozzi è stato più veloce, 47,8 rispetto al 47,9 di Pasiewicz, cosa che si conferma anche adesso. 47,6 di Pasiewicz, 47,5 per Pozzi, che torna ad avvicinarsi un pizzico al polacco per cercare di vedere se ha non solo il passo per arrivare dal leader della corsa, ma anche per provare poi eventualmente ad attaccarlo. Un discorso analogo che si potrebbe fare per quanto riguarda Sebastian Janczewski e Nicola Rossini, che si stanno avvicinando a Marco Chiarello in terza posizione. 47,6 all'incirca il passo che stanno sostanzialmente seguendo entrambi nel cercare di indurre Chiarello a tornare a essere attaccabile. Si è un po' stabilizzato il passo di Manducchi dopo un inizio non brillantissimo dalla seconda casella, e ora come ora insomma sembra esserci solo Brando Pozzi come idea di bastone fra le ruote di Pasiewicz nel completare un percorso netto almeno fino all'ingresso in finale. Pasiewicz, mentre arriva una warning flag all'indirizzo di Valentino Rossi, che si trova in qualche modo adesso un po' invischiato in un gruppo bello nutrito con Franciosi che lo segue, Xiaz, Gomez e Daziano non troppo lontani, e vorrebbe presumibilmente prendere. Si ripassa sul traguardo, continua ogni singolo giro a togliere un decimino Pozzi da Pasiewicz. Infatti si riduce a mezzo secondo ora il gap del pilota nostrano nei confronti del polacco. Poi Chiarello, Janczewski, Rossini e Manducchi, ancora cristallizzate le situazioni. Ho parlato troppo presto, c'è l'attacco ai danni di Chiarello, era nell'area da una tornata e mezza almeno da parte di Janczewski, ma Rossini sembra volergli andare dietro molto volentieri. Almost 3 laps to go and Pasiewicz is still leading, but every single time Pozzi is able to chop away a tenth of a second from that gap, and now he's getting closer. It's a little bit late for that with Chiarello, that has lost a position in favor of Sebastian Janczewski and Nicola Rossini. Both of the drivers were faster and were able to overtake Chiarello. Meanwhile, 47.268, the answer by Pasiewicz at the top of the race with a great time, and a time that was 1/10 of a second faster than Brando Pozzi's in 47.3. That's something. They are racing very fast, faster, half of a second at least faster than anybody else on track, even if we have to notice that Janczewski got an overtake to do in the last lap. Let's see what the timing is saying now. It's the same for Pasiewicz and Pozzi, 47.2 for both of them. Very close with Janchevsky trying to get on that pace, but now it's very, very far, 2.7, or I should say 2.8 seconds away from the two leaders of the race. I don't think Janchevsky will be able to get back in this race, and seems like the time is running out for Brando Pozzi too, because it's close. He was getting closer. Now he's a little bit in trouble with the pace, but the fact that we are starting the last lap is saying that probably he needed something more to properly fight against Mazjevich for the win of this pre-final. Rossini alongside with Janchevsky, and for Chiarello the good news that he was able for a moment to not let Manduki and Kutaya have a better pace and get back on him, so he can preserve his P5. It could be important. Rossini, purple sector in number one, in sector number one. Let's see if Rossini can imagine to something else during the final. But the checkered flag is already there once again, and like it was in every single hit we had in this ROK Cup Superfinal, Karol Pasiewicz winning the pro-final and taking the pole position for this afternoon. Then it's Brando Pozzi in second place, and Janchevsky and Rossini with Chiarello in P5, Manduki, Kutaya and Ito, and that's gonna give us a good, interesting starting grid with Manduki, that with that 6th place will start on the first row alongside with Pasiewicz. Then it's Pozzi and Janchevsky, second and third to in this pre-final. They will be on the second row, and of course this is gonna be interesting because it's not something that could change from the usual race we have. They will have, of course, a start from the grid, so every single spot is important.
And a longer race, of course, that's always the untested bit for the drivers and the teams when they get to the finals. That's okay. They've done lots of races, they've done lots of heats, but they haven't run their machinery to that length of laps in one go. So the Shifter Rock final will be our last race of the day. Do hope you can be with us for that. That does bring us to a close for the pre-finals. We've got another broadcast scheduled, of course, for the finals themselves. So if in doubt, make sure that you've subscribed to the Vortex by Rock by Vortex YouTube channel. Click the notification bell. You'll be notified as and when we go live for that one. The time's just coming up to 1 o'clock here local time. We've actually done very well, in fact, to pull the time back from the time lost earlier on in the day. So we'll assume that we will be set to go again in around 20 minutes' time, starting with the Mini Rock Under 10s.